Hello and welcome to the Computer Game Show. My name's David Turner and I'm here with Matt Murray.
Hello.
James Farley.
Hello.
No Sean Bell this week. A last minute cancellation means that Sean can't be here for family reasons. Have you noticed, right? It's not just Sean.
No.
Everyone's just getting sick at the moment. It's crazy. It
Yeah.
seems like everyone is just ill at the moment. We've all been ill over the past week. Sean's family are all ill at the moment.
We had the whole family off this week, well, apart from me, and that was annoying. Didn't like it. Yeah.
Really? Joe, the thing is, right, whenever we all get ill, Joe gets ill, the kids get ill, whatever, Joe always goes to me, well, you don't drink enough water and you don't don't eat enough fruit.
And you don't mow the lawn enough, you don't do DIY enough.
I'm thinking, hold on a minute. Hold on a minute.
But you're ill. You're ill as well. It's
yeah. I don't think that. It was like the time my mum took my N64 away for a month because I caught the flu. I know I keep bringing it up, but it still hurts. We'd like to start the show by thanking our Patreon producers this month. They are Aaron Patrick, the QuickBooks chap. Why not join us as Full Nels? Simon Nelson, Jack Oven, Moomin Biscuit, Trans Rights are Human Rights, Dave Ernsberger, Colin Brown, Gazman, Rocketman76, Grey Dragon Claw, Fred Fenge, Smooth Monkey, Don Whiskerando, Colin Smith, Richard Sawyer, Tom S, John Tempelli, and we've got two new Full Nels members. The first being Laser Quest.
That's
right. Laser Quest is now Full Nels, along with Andy Palmer has joined the team. Look at this.
Andy Palmer,
Patreon
aka
producers, Full Nels assemble.
Yeah, that's how it works. Andy Palmer, aka
What are you
who?
laughing at?
James?
so again.
Andy Palmer, aka who?
Why are you bringing this up? I don't know.
What is this? I don't know
This
this
is
story.
Ramal
What's going
Aptar.
on?
Oh, it's Ramalapata.
That's
Yeah.
that's the
Ramal
one.
Aptar.
Ramalapata. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Ramalapata.
Back in the
I know him
house.
as Ramalapata. Or is it Ramalapata?
Ramalapata. Thank you so much for supporting us this month. We really, really do appreciate it, and especially as we tumble towards Christmas, every penny helps. Patreon.com/TCGS if you want to follow us and support us on Patreon. We did our GTA heist this week. Believe it or not, that was like just last week, right?
Last
That was
week,
after
yeah,
we recorded.
yeah.
Oh my god, how fun was that stream?
That was
It
incredible,
was
yeah.
so much fun. It went on for way longer than we intended. I think we were on for 2.5 hours in the end, weren't we?
It was 2.5 hours. Yeah.
Yeah, which is a lot longer than we normally do as things. But we did our first. Well, we thought after the month previous that we'd be fully ready for the heist. Turns out there was another tiny mission to do beforehand, but that went swimmingly. That was perfect. Straight to the heist, and the heist had its own.
I keep thinking back to when Sean said we got all the way to the airfield, and Sean said on our first attempt, and Sean said, "Do you know what? It's a really good sign, lads. This took us hours to get here when I first did it. Really good sign." And that was about 2 hours before we finished.
Yeah, that was the end.
So if you want to see that, you can sign up now and watch it instantly.
I've rewatched the last half an hour of that a couple of times.
Oh, have you? It was. There was some quite funny moments in that we might have to clip and release.
It got quite tense at points.
There was a standoff at the end. Yeah. There was a standoff between me and Matt. And
I had tears in my eyes for one bit near the end. I think we all did.
When that happened at the end,
I didn't. I felt so not part of that because I was up in the air. I couldn't see shit. Go on, James.
When that happened at the end, I was for a second. I thought I'm going to get out and try and mediate. Like between them over this. I thought that would have
the standoff.
Yeah.
Right, okay. Let's get to feedback from last week's show. Do we say that's enough of the Patreon chat?
Yes. We're going to start with Alex79. I enjoyed the brief chat about waking up to strange noises on this week's show, and it reminded me of something that happened over 20 years ago to me. I'd eaten some magic mushrooms and enjoyed my evening, eventually managing to fall asleep after many hours. All of a sudden, I was waken up by this sound in my ears.
That's horrible.
How are you feeling, little box
It sort of sounds like something, James. To me, it sort of sounds like something from Treehouse of Horrors.
Well, this is apparently Masks attack Buxton in Dougal and the Blue Cat. And Alex continues, someone had phoned my phone, which somehow I must have answered half asleep, and it was next to my head, and they were playing this down the phone. I had no clue what on earth was going on, and it took far too long to realise the sound was coming from my phone. Anyway, good times. Cheers all from Alex.
Don't sound like good times there, Alex. Doesn't sound like good times, I'll be honest with you. And, you know...
That's probably enough to put you off all that.
We have had to hand your details over to the police because of the old magic mushroom confession.
SWAT are on their way. Okay. Yeah, you can't be doing that.
I don't know why we would do that. I mean, we're a video game show. I mean, what do you think was in those mushrooms that Mario was eating? Was he really big, or was he?
Oh, it's actually quite political, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's like
kind of just running around eating mushrooms. Are they? Hey, what is that? Something on one of his. What's the next bit of feedback, Matt?
SMW, I found your discussion on last week's show about when Xbox will see games come from its acquisitions really interesting.
Can I stop a second, Matt? Just imagine this email is just dripping with sarcasm, like as you're reading it.
yeah, really interesting.
I think you might be surprised about how many games have actually been released by the studios Microsoft bought. It's a total of 18 games so far since 2018. Not a terrible output factoring
13,
COVID.
isn't it? It says 13.
13, yeah, what did I say?
18, I think.
Okay. Not a terrible output factoring in COVID. The problem, I think, is more the types of games released and the contracts that were in place. The two best rated games released have been Forza Horizon 4 and 5, but they most likely would have been made anyway unless Playground had been purchased by someone else. Psychonauts 2, The Outer Worlds, and Wasteland 3 all scored highly, but were contractually obliged to be multi-platform, while Bethesda's first two releases for Microsoft have been timed exclusives for PlayStation. Another issue is the smaller games. Microsoft seems happy for studios to work on things like Pentiment, 86%, and Grounded, 83%. I assume they're Metacritic scores, as well as failed experiments such as Bleeding Edge. I personally like this approach, but for many it's not The Last of Us or God of War level of size or quality that people want from first party. With Redfall...
for many of us, who are the other people?
Yeah, who actually thinks that is what we want, yeah.
Who actually... Exactly, yeah.
There are tens of us to know. With Redfall, Starfield, Hellblade 2, Fable, Perfect Dark, and State of Decay 3, and The Outer Worlds 2, and Avowed, all in the pipeline, I think the studio purchases will eventually start to offer what people have hoped for, but the real test, I think, will be if they can turn a lot of the 80 rated games into 90s to match what Sony is offering. Cheers from SMW.
Okay, so first of all, obviously we clearly got it wrong if you're saying that they've released from the studios that they acquired back in 2018, if they've released 13 games, then yeah, we got it wrong. Like I had no idea they'd release 13 games. But then that raises another issue, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what those 13 games are, and that's a problem, right? Surely, because they're compete in terms of competing with Sony for big titles. They're not really offering much. You know, Forza Horizon 4 and 5 are great, right? But I mean, what's competing with things like God of War? What's competing with God of War?
Nothing. And I know Microsoft changed their strategy, and they're more, you know, it feels like, it's more Game Pass, less about big hitters, and more about lots of content for the service. And
but I still want to play good games. Well,
I know, but we've just got to come to terms with the fact that may never happen, and even if it does, it's going to take a long time.
I'm not going to come to terms with it, Matt. I'm not going to come to terms with it.
I think I was
thinking, though, that this is all just a hangover from Xbox One, right? Because when you look at Xbox 360, their franchises...
Yeah, they were brilliant.
Franchises. Yeah. Halo, Gears of War, you know...
well, even Mass Effect.
Yeah, but they invested in like
Mass Effect and stuff like that as well.
They did.
You know, originally.
I know, but it was never really theirs, was it?
Well, it was to begin with. It was exclusive.
Well, only for a short while, wasn't it? It did come to PS3.
Eventually, the Xbox
timed exclusive. What I'm saying is that back then they had games to get excited about, and it feels like Xbox One was the period where they didn't, and that is a problem.
No, but they had TV.
They did.
They did have TV.
I mean, that's when they
shifted
the strategy around, didn't they? And they shut down all those studios that were actually working on stuff, and there was all like, you know, Lionhead got gutted and all that kind of thing, and it was kind of stupid.
Yeah. I mean,
also, the other concerning thing is, right, you mentioned Redfall and Starfield, which, genuinely I'm interested in those. Let's see what comes out of it. Hellblade 2, okay, fine. But Fable Perfect Dark, maybe even State of Decay 3, what? We don't know where they are. Fable's gone completely silent, as has Perfect Dark. What's going on with those? We got to hear about them soon, right?
Yeah, it feels like we're a long way away. I mean, State of Decay 3, we had that CGI trailer at E3 a while ago. Perfect Dark, same, even further back. And Fable, I don't know. But, none of these are going to be on the level of a Last of Us or God of War or an Uncharted. They're just not.
Hold on,
no, but Starfield.
I don't know about that.
Starfield is the only one on that list, I think, at the moment that is like realistically close to release. That is like a actual big hitter, I'd say. Like Fable, as you said, we don't know where that is, and Perfect Dark, we don't know where that is either.
Well, no, my problem with Fable is this, right? Like, I think Fable has an audience for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know if Fable. It's been a long time since Fable 3, and that wasn't a particularly good one.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it never felt like the buzz for Fable was as genuine. Do you know what I mean? Like it. I'm surprised people see that as like a classic.
I mean, as someone who didn't play the Fable games, what made the Fable games into what people love them so much for now? Like
the two things: the humour and the freedom.
Yeah,
like you felt that you can do things outside the beaten path in ways that you couldn't do in a lot of RPGs, in my opinion. Anyway, and I haven't played many RPGs, so I haven't got a massive amount of authority on the subject. But
anything like that, other games would have done that. Right.
It was because Fable kind of did do things a little bit different, in the sense that there was the humoor side to it as well, which kind of worked.
Go up to anyone and marry anyone.
Yeah, there was all that sort of
build
stuff.
a relationship with any character in the game and end up marrying them and moving in and buying a house together and all that sort of stuff.
Okay,
but it's still not like Zelda level though of like. In terms of people getting excited.
God, no, but the combat wasn't. The combat was pretty good.
Well, especially because was it the third one or was it the second one where they did the whole like it's just one button or whatever for like attacks and stuff?
That was, I think that was from the second one, and they also used it for the third.
Yeah,
I can't remember off the top of my head, but I just remember like and there was that whole like it did the whole your choices had an effect not only on you. But also your weaponry reacted to what, like if you were good or bad, and the way people reacted around you. Like, so if you walked into a town and you were like really evil, everyone would like cower away from you or shout horrible abuse at you or whatever. But if you were like a good guy, people run over. I think people asked for your autograph and stuff like that. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, if you were a hero, they loved it.
Yeah, that's right.
But have other games done that in the intervening years better, or have other games just still never done it? So that's what Fable's USP still is.
It's unique, right? It's unique. I think once you factor in all of the weird stuff that it did that other games weren't doing at the time, and also the humour, because it was very British, like it's like, I mean, you just play the opening to Fable 2. That's what I only heard, that Fable 2 was amazing, right? And I was looking for a game, and I picked up the game thinking it's an RPG in a fantasy universe. I'm not going to like it, but I'm going to give it a go. And was absolutely stunned to hear all these British voices, like, I don't know, and that humour. And it doesn't appeal to everyone, but it fucking worked in this.
It also had one other critical factor, and that was Peter Molyneux, like, pre-disgrace, hyping all of this stuff, and people getting excited about it. That was the other big factor with this.
But I think Fable 2 did stick the landing, even if some of the promises didn't come to fruition. I think it did stick the landing.
No, it was a good game.
Halo, Fable 2 stuck the landing. Yeah. Fable 3 certainly didn't. That especially that last third. What was really annoying about Fable 3 is that it started so well, and some of the missions. I mean, do you remember the board game mission where you get shrunk into a board game? Oh, it's really good. And then you get to the end, and it was like, wow, this really did not get finished, did it? It was crazy. But there you go. I mean, I think if Fable comes out and looks strong, which I think it's got every chance of doing so, then it could be big. But God of War big, I don't know, man.
No, well, still a long way off. And maybe Microsoft won't ever want to get that. Well, they won't want to get there because maybe these 80% games are good enough.
Of course they will.
Yeah, there's no way.
I mean, they would want to.
Stuff that's like God of War big. There's no way.
Yeah.
I mean, as I said, the one from that list that I think is the standout is Starfield. I think they've got a lot riding on that, because that's got to be That's supposed to be like one of like the new huge like Bethesda, like releases.
Yeah, I am concerned about that as well.
Really?
I'm concerned about the whole, hey, it's got like 1,000 planets on
anytime
it.
they say that, it's always a worry.
Yeah, that's always a worry.
Yeah.
But, it looked great when they showed it at E3. Was it E3 or it was E3, wasn't it? Yeah. So I'm excited to see that, but yeah, I might, the days of me thinking which of the new games is going to be like a God of War, a Last of Us, I'm just, or Horizon, those days are over. That's not going to happen.
It feels like they need to do something new. It feels like there needs to be a new IP coming from Xbox, like, because you can't rely on.
Redfall's
if they
a new
announce
IP.
a new Gears of War, I'm going to sit there and go, I've got zero interest. If they announce a new Halo, you'd be like, well, you fucked the last one and a few before that as well. So I've got no confidence in those IPs anymore. I wish they'd just come out with like a new, adventure game, a new adventure game.
Because they are doing new IPs like Avowed, like Grounded, like Redfall, but then
I get that.
Maybe it's like the lens I'm looking through, like through PlayStation, but I want like a big third person action adventure game, like the things that PlayStation
want
so
that.
well.
It doesn't even have to be like a third person adventure game. But it has to be something which is on that level of like. I want something that's like when the original Halo came out. Do you know what I mean? In the sense of something which is like actually going to
captures your imagination.
Exactly, yeah. Something new that's going to like move the needle a lot on stuff.
First time you saw Last of Us, you were like, "Wow, look at these characters, the way they're interacting." First time you saw, as you say, Halo, it was the scope of it made you feel sick.
Uncharted.
Oh my god, you look up and you can see the other side of the planet, like above you, like all of that stuff. Something that can capture your imagination, and I'm sure that's harder to do in this day and age. But I don't think it's impossible.
Yeah, we'll see. Anyway, Paul Allen, hi all from Louisville, Kentucky. Long-time listener, listener, and first-time writing in. I absolutely love y'all and the dynamic you guys have. I always have a good time and a jolly old good laugh every time I listen in. I love how the show has transformed over the years. The James Fantasy Corner was an excellent, more recent addition to the show. You guys handle nearly every aspect of this podcast superbly, in my opinion. The only recommendation I have for y'all is to talk more about the stuff that Sean is into, like the indie games on PC/Steam. Okay. There's a whole another world of excellent games to discuss and explore out there that aren't on the big three platforms, Nintendo, Xbox, and PlayStation. So keep up the beautiful work and don't ever stop being yourselves.
Cheers, Paul. We are going to block Louisville, Kentucky from our IP list. We are going to block you.
Yeah, we can do that.
For that comment. Because, if anything, Sean talks too much about PC and Steam stuff.
Bloody sick of it.
I could simply replace him today if you want. I've been playing a game called Glibbleblob, and what you do is you get the cards, and you play the cards, and really it's about it's about overthrowing governments in 1946. I don't know. It's that sort of stuff. And you go, oh, is it, Sean? Right. Let's get to the questions, man.
Also, right, we all play indie games. I don't know where this idea is that, we don't all play indie games.
I don't.
Do. We've all played loads of them.
I don't. No, I don't. I play EA games or
Activision-Blizzard. Yeah.
That's it. I don't want to play any other shit, to be quite honest with you. Also, Sean, I'm joking. Chill out, mate. I know you're already texting the group, having a pop at me, but take a joke, mate.
Can't believe you said that about indie games, you bastard.
Oh, Sean's here. Sorry, Sean, you just logged in, have you? You don't sound ill.
I want to take fucking week off. Pod, you bastard.
Okay, well, there's...
Okay.
Don't need to call me that.
Okay. Yeah, no, but we all play indie games. I mean, like, some of my favourite games this year are the indie titles.
Yeah, name them.
Norco, Citizen Sleeper, others.
Boring.
Signalis.
Signalis is one, right? So yeah. I'm talking about it today. There you go.
Yeah, Paul. Paul's sent us the nicest message there that we've had for years, and we've just slaughtered the man. So I apologise for that, Paul.
I think
Keep
Paul
listening.
Allen from Louisville, Kentucky.
You leave Paul Allen alone. I'm on his side now.
He's have a good listen about what the stuff we're plugging, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Cheesy
let's go.
Mole. Cheesy Mole's next. After only finding a superb pod earlier this year, I've just started listening from episode 001. Having made it to episode 6, I'm delighted by Farley's correction section. I need to ask, is there any chance this can make a return?
What the hell was this? I don't even remember this.
Farley's correction section.
I think that was when James insisted on something being correct, and next week he's like, I've got to make a correction to last week. I think that's what it was.
That.
So he used to do feedback on his own self.
Saying,
Wow.
I know last week I said Activision-Blizzard had one game. It turns out they've sold loads of games.
Yeah, no, that sounds like something James used to do. And then as time went on, he'd become less and less interested in the show, and he couldn't be bothered to correct himself anymore.
No need.
And he just let other people correct him, and then go, no. Like, what was the thing that happened recently? Holy shit, we didn't talk about this. This didn't come up in the feedback.
What was that?
When I said that Microsoft had sold 10 to 15 million consoles, and then you said 15.
Well, you did. You
I
said
10 to
initially
15.
you said 15, and then you said 10 to 15. Listen to the clip.
I've put the clip out on Twitter, James, because it was ridiculous.
I know. But David, you said 15, and
I
then
said 15,
and then a
10
second
to
later,
15.
exactly. So you said 15 first.
And then after that, you said 15.
But no, exactly.
I said
You
10
said
to
15. You said 15.
No, you said 15.
You said
What
15.
if you ain't take the first answer?
No,
Do you know what was?
You said what have they sold? They've sold 15, 10 to 15 million.
15, and then
There you
James
go.
went la 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 la.
Exactly. Yeah. I just take your first answer, David. Yeah.
And then, do you know what was even funnier, Matt? Turns out they sold about 17 million. Like,
Yeah, it wasn't even 10 to
James
15.
was wrong on all fronts there.
Doesn't matter. You said 15. You
all right,
first
well,
said 15.
You also
And then
said that they sold way less than 15. Turns out they sold 17. So do you want to apologise to the listeners for that?
Was guessing. I mean, ultimately, who cares?
You were guessing, were you?
Yeah.
Do you, James, want to apologise to SMW?
No.
Here's the thing, Matt, that I noticed about that little argument that I had with James. James is like proper. He'll never admit it, but he's a proper fanboy. Like, he's a proper fanboy.
Oh, I love all this. This is.
And when it comes to, like, especially when it comes to, he's always like, I
Why
think
am I a fanboy
Nintendo's
of
his
this time?
favourite. Can we be quiet? I think Nintendo's his favourite. I think there's that.
Hands down.
But then also, I mean, he's got 18 of their fucking recent
Yeah, he's
consoles.
basically a shareholder.
Yeah, but when it comes to Sony or Microsoft, he picks a side, right? And I think this gen, he's Sony, and he just cannot have a positive word about Microsoft being said without him stepping. They've sold less than that. I read somewhere that it was actually way less than that.
Well,
it turns out it
trying to get
wasn't.
factual accuracy in there, Dave. I mean, I know in your
But you were
Xbox
wrong,
fanboy,
James.
and I was wrong, and I'll admit I was wrong about that. I've
But
got
you
no problem with
didn't
doing
admit
that.
it. You didn't admit it, though, James.
I mean, I'm not the person, David, who said that I had to have controllers that were Xbox controllers. That I had to have the button
That's not what I
layout
said.
exactly the same.
I said the button layouts. It would
the
be
button
better
layout
if they
should
were
be an
like that.
Xbox One because that's the one I like the best. That's what
Well,
you
tell
said.
you what. Actually, I'd say this: if they were the triangle, X, and square, I'd love that as well across all of them.
That's not
That'd
what you
be
said.
Fine.
Not what you
No,
said.
but that would be fine because
No, but
my
David,
point was
James only takes your first
standardisation
answer.
is a good thing.
First answer
James.
only for James.
As long as
Oh,
it's
sorry, I
as long as
forgot
it's
his first
standardisation, that's the
answer.
same as Xbox, isn't it, Dave?
I forgot about that first answer. James, we'll call him. Next.
First answer only. Jack Mulder, can we get tired James in his dressing gown waving his hands around saying he doesn't do anything? Absolute fucking maverick.
It was cold, wasn't it? It was really
How long's
cold.
he got, Matt? How long's he got before he's done?
I reckon January.
You reckon January?
I reckon after the game of the year, he's like, I'm not coming back. Well,
I
you,
reckon
well,
it
you know
might-
what? You know what James does in January. I want first week of Jan, let's get a pod out, and James is like, sorry, I'm out, traveling the world. I'll probably
It's
back.
true. I'm actually doing that in January again as well. So
Yeah, we do it every year. And it's like, well, when are you back, James? Oh, probably like 28th of Jan.
Every
like,
year?
Fucking hell.
What do you mean every year? He goes globetrotting every couple of months.
Well, I know, but
I
particularly
can't
around
help it. I have
Christmas,
to
like,
go for work.
I want to go back.
Yeah, all
I want to
right.
get a pod out, and like, oh, great, with probably one in January.
First week of
So
January, I'm not going to be around.
What? Sorry, what?
First week in January, I'm not going to be around.
I don't know if anyone will be, to be honest.
Yeah.
We'll see about that. We haven't gone through how long we're going to take to get
Got
back
to go to
on it.
Portugal.
Ooh, James,
Okay.
you've revealed the place you're going. Are you okay?
But James, before you got this job, you were doing the same thing. Oh, I'm in Switzerland this weekend. Are you? Why?
Just visiting family. It was
Visiting family in
What's
China
wrong with
next
that?
week.
What's wrong?
Globetrotter.
Stop visiting family,
Globetrotter
James.
James. globetrotter, and you try and claim to be working class. Right, should we get to the news?
Yeah, if you want to leave feedback, go to tcgs.co/dear-tcgs.
Do you want to hear about Activision-Blizzard?
I would love to hear
Xbox, because
Blizzard,
there's been a whole mess this week of information.
Oh, yeah.
And what was really annoying is I prepared this earlier, so it was all ready, and then of course something else leaks out just before we were about to record, so I've had to add that as well.
It was about 5 hours before we recorded, wasn't it?
No, it was just fuck off. Okay.
Anyway. All right, I'll fuck off.
You got him there, boy.
Anyway. So basically, the first thing I think we'd look at is the FTC are apparently considering a lawsuit now against Microsoft over the Activision deal, and this is going to be like an antitrust one. So the idea is that FTC staff who have looked at the deal for the case are sceptical at the moment of this, of what's going on, and this is in addition to the European Commission announcing that it was going to do an in-depth investigation of the deal itself. So
you posted this news story at 11:19 in the group chat.
Yeah, I know. I'm not saying
at 9 p.m. So.
Yeah, that's this one. Okay, let's have a look then at the one that was recently released. Okay, so the one that just came out. Let's have a look. Oh, it doesn't tell me what time it was published. That's really annoying.
Yeah, that's convenient.
How convenient.
I think that's quite convenient.
That's really annoying. Why doesn't Eurogamer put a timestamp on their news?
Why do people need to know the time it comes out?
Because it would be helpful.
In this particular example.
But this is the first news story. So anyway, the European Commission are obviously investigating. So then also the UK investigation is also going ahead, and there's a ruling in September said that the merger may result in substantial lessening of competition within the UK market. According to GamesIndustry.biz, the Competitions and Markets Authority, the Federal Trade Commission, and the European Commission are the key players with this, as if any of them don't give approval, then the deal can't happen. But what could possibly happen, according to GamesIndustry.biz, is that the European Commission could say, yeah, you can do this, but with conditions. Like they can add conditions to the deal that will change, how it will pan out. And then Microsoft may decide, actually, it's not worth it with those conditions. And so,
especially, it's fucking mad, isn't it?
Yeah, I really thought this would probably just go through. Obviously, there'd be reviews, and maybe we are in this, but it feels like it's a lot more right now. But there'll be reviews of it. They'll do their due diligence. But it really feels like, hang on, this might not actually happen in the way we expected.
We've been thinking this and we've been saying it for a couple of months now with the statements that are coming out from both sides. Sony trying everything they can to stop it from happening.
Oh yeah, and they've done plenty more.
While quietly tucking Bungie away in their back, in their top pocket,
I mean, what's been particularly funny this week, as you just said with this, is the fact that both sides have now been Microsoft have been basically slagging off their own studios and saying that their stuff's no good, and then also Sony of saying we can't survive without Call of Duty. So
wait, read the quotes.
So the Microsoft one's pretty funny because it says here, so Microsoft have told the UK's Competitions and Markets Authority that its games aren't as good as PlayStation's. So these are the key quotes. They said, Sony is roughly equivalent in size to Activision and nearly double the size of Microsoft's game publishing business. There were over 280 exclusives first and third-party titles on PlayStation in 2021, nearly 5 times as many as Xbox. But this is because it says, Sony has more exclusive games than Microsoft, many of which are better quality. I mean, that's an insane thing to say.
It's just mad, isn't it?
It's incredible.
They want this acquisition to go through.
Yeah, and they said it's implausible that Sony, the leading console with more than 2-to-1 lead, would be foreclosed as a result of not having access to a single franchise. But then also, Microsoft had a go at Nintendo as well over the whole thing, where they said. So they said Microsoft also said that regarding Nintendo's exclusives, that they said that Nintendo offer a broader range of mature content than Xbox.
What?
I'm not joking. That's what they said.
I mean, they do have those one-handed games.
And
that's true.
They said, this is the quote.
According
they
to
said,
James.
Nintendo's use of innovation should not detract from the fact that it is still offering a console experience that competes with Xbox and Sony and has been able to do so successfully without Call of Duty being on its platform.
Well, that's the angle, exactly it, right? This is exactly it. Now, when it comes to law and when it comes to the reasons why this is being looked into, the reasons this is being looked into is because if we have a gaming industry where there's one console that's so far ahead of everyone else that there's no real competition, then there's that idea of a monopoly, right? That they're the owner of the majority of the games that are coming out, and they're all coming out for their one system. They've got control of the market, and that's a dangerous thing to have happen. This is how are they not looking at this and saying, look, I think Microsoft owning Activision-Blizzard is a bad thing. I do. I think it's a bad thing. I think taking a series like Call of Duty, an established series like that, and locking it away is potentially disrupting for the industry. I think it's not good for the people that have already gone out and bought their Sony PlayStations that like that series. You know,
I mean, they're not locking it away yet, but they could potentially lock it away. Well,
that's the idea. That's why they're fucking buying this shit anyway, right? But when it comes to, so I do think it's a bad thing. But when it comes to actual law and looking to if this is a potential problem, surely all you've got to do is point at Nintendo and say they're selling way more than us and they don't even have Call of Duty on their system.
Yeah, but they don't need it.
But that's the thing, because that's if you take Microsoft's argument that they're directly competing with Nintendo. Now, I think they are. Like, I agree that they are. But you could argue that Nintendo are in a different market and that they're not appealing to the same. They've got a different user base, basically, to
but then you would also have to convince them that only children buy Nintendo games, and we all know that isn't true.
That is also true.
They are after a different market. I think I agree with that. They are not after first-person shooter fans, for example. Mm-hmm. But you can buy first-person shooter games on their system. You know, you can buy. Well, you can. You can buy Doom. You could buy Wolfenstein. You can buy first-person
They're all
Activision
Activision-Blizzard games.
yeah, they'll get taken away. But my point is this: is that when I look at this from a legal standpoint, I do not know how this is causing so much of a problem, and it obviously is. These organisations are getting involved and trying to stop this deal going through. I think it's not a great thing to have happen within the industry, but here we are. I just don't understand how the argument works to say that this is going to be a big problem on two counts. One being Nintendo being successful without Call of Duty, and two, Sony being so far ahead of where Microsoft's at. It's like saying, okay, well, if you want to get to a point where we own Activision, but we have to release Call of Duty on your system, bring out Last of Us on our system. Do you know what I mean? But they're not going to do that because Sony owns them.
Exactly.
How's that not the same?
It's not the same because Naughty Dog have been around for a very long time as a Sony studio, and they've been Sony have invested huge amounts of money into that over time, I presume.
But then you would argue that Microsoft are investing a huge amount of money into Activision-Blizzard, billions, in fact. It's just all happening once as opposed to over several years.
Yeah.
So it's.
But also, I mean, Last of Us isn't as big as a franchise as Call of Duty. You know,
no,
that's not making $1 billion on this opening weekend or opening week.
No, sorry.
The Last of Us isn't selling $1 billion worth of stuff in its opening weekend like a Call of Duty
copies.
is.
I was like, I've been selling that, but I don't know. I kind of think it's weird, isn't it? Exclusivity has always been a thing within gaming since Nintendo Sega, you know, and you just think.
You see, a lot of this though it's not just about now though; it's about future, and it's about how things can pan out in the future. And I think that's one of the reasons why they're looking at this so carefully. It's not the fact that right now, you know, Xbox are very, very far ahead. PlayStation are very, very far ahead of Xbox at the moment. But then how is this going to affect things, you know, in the future if you have one company that is really owning quite a big chunk of the games industry? You know, if you're buying up all these studios, you know, how does that affect things in the future?
Do you think they own a huge chunk of the game industry, though?
I don't. Well, this is the thing. If you look at the releases that they've had over the last, apart from SMW's email, but if you have a look at all the stuff that's come out, if you have a look at who they own now, they do own quite a lot of studios. It's not a small amount that they own.
But then there needs to be a line: how many studios can a platform holder own?
Yeah.
This is
but
the problem.
they're never limited by that
it's
number.
All theorizing about it and saying this could happen, surely there needs to be some sort of rule in place. You know, like as I said, for me it would feel even weirder if Microsoft bought Sony, you know, or if Microsoft bought Nintendo. That's when I'd be going, I can totally see why they're trying to shut this down.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
It's not going to happen, obviously. I'm not suggesting it would. But what I'm saying is that you could see why people were getting involved and say, that ain't happening. But Activision-Blizzard, I'm not sure they count as... I don't know. It's just... It doesn't sit right. I don't see... I'm surprised that this has grown into such a big thing.
Do you buy the argument that Microsoft's argument that this is really about the mobile gaming thing and not Call of Duty?
No, I don't buy that for a second.
You don't know?
That is weird because Call of Duty will have a lifespan. Like, I know it keeps selling incredibly well and it's like, you know, almost seemingly guaranteed revenue every year, but there's got to be a point where you need to look for the future of something else. So I do get that, and yeah, especially with their xCloud kind of plays, it makes sense to have a focus on mobile. But I don't know. I mean, I think
do you
it's
think that's what
both.
they bought them for?
I think it's a bit of both.
No, I don't think.
I am interested in is their concessions that they said. I mean, well, they were like, okay, how about we get it, but we don't take Skylanders. How does that work for you? No, okay. How about we take it? We don't take Sky and Pitfall. Pitfall? No, okay, fine, okay. Whatever.
What about some
ones we
World
got?
of Warcraft expansions? Yeah, we can throw some of them. Yeah.
Every third one, we don't have that. How about that?
But it's strange. It's clearly. I mean, as I said, if the deal does go through, it pretty much writes off any chance Microsoft have got of buying any other big studio, right? Because you're going to look at how long this has dragged out for and the legal process they went through to acquire them and say, hold on, you've just been through all this and you're buying another big studio.
Yeah. But then, this is arguably the biggest, publisher and collection of studios.
I get that. But what I'm saying is that I think Sony went to Sony have been wrapped up in this, and I think they were expecting to cause a few ripples in the water to sort of point back to if any further acquisitions were made, and not necessarily expecting it to get to this point. But it's wild seeing all these quotes from Microsoft and Sony about each other's platform. And
that was the next point.
Mad this is getting.
We've got more of that. It's so good.
That was the next point I was coming to, because Sony have also now claimed that Xbox Game Pass has reached 29 million subscribers, which is more than Microsoft said that it is.
This is one of the best stories. The fact that Sony are basically releasing the numbers and Microsoft they're not doing that. But Sony we got some news about Microsoft. Here it is.
But there's a caveat to this. So basically, they told the UK Competitions and Markets Authority, they said, Game Pass leads PlayStation Plus significantly. Microsoft already has a substantial lead in multi-game subscription services. Game Pass has 29 million subscribers to Xbox Game Pass Console and Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, and is expected to grow substantially in the future. The multi-game subscription tiers of PlayStation Plus considerably lag, with fewer than, redacted, the number of subscribers. However, it turns out that this 29 million, from this analyst, market data analytics firm called Ampere Analysis.
Who was it?
It's called Ampere Analysis, and their games researcher Piers Harding-Rolls has said that actually this is a forecast, this number, not a firm number. So they forecast, this company forecasts 29 million, but it's not like this is what it is. This is what we think it's going to be, like a projection. So this is a bit strange. But then it's also quite funny how they threw their own subscription service under the bus with that, saying it wasn't doing very well, which is quite funny.
Well, I guess they're going for the angle that if this is a monopoly, as I said, Sony was so far ahead in terms of console sales and stuff like that actually, if they're going for, hey, this is going to let them have a significant hold on the market, they're going through the subscription service thing, which is mad because they haven't really fucking bothered with their subscription service for years.
The quote from Sony is, we only put Stray on there and it's a big load of shit anyway, so and people paying £100 a year for this bollocks.
But then also, the other thing they've done, so Sony also had a go at the Battlefield series over this. Why is
everyone being nasty?
Everyone's swinging, I love this. I'll get shit as well.
So they submitted further material to the Markets Authority saying that Call of Duty wasn't replicable and that other games just can't do it. So this is what they said. They said, to give a concrete example, Electronic Arts, one of the largest third-party developers after Activision, has tried for many years to produce a rival to Call of Duty with its Battlefield series. Despite the similarities between Call of Duty and Battlefield, the Battlefield franchise cannot keep up.
Do you know what this is like? This is like if Kane and Rince tried to buy the Backpage pod, and we were trying to stop it from happening.
Yeah.
Well, listen, really, because we haven't really got many listeners, and the ones that the listeners we have got are rubbish anyway, so it doesn't really count. And then Kane and Rince are going, yeah, but we're so fucking dry that we need some light. You know what I mean? We need a little bit of something about us, and we're going, yeah, you're dry, but come on.
Yeah. Oh my god.
The final development that happens this evening is that it turns out that Microsoft is likely to make EU concessions. So they're saying that they're going to make a number of formal concessions to EU regulators. One of those apparently is going to be a guarantee that Call of Duty will be available on PlayStation for the next 10 years. But the problem with this is that there's 16 regulatory bodies around the world that have launched investigations into this whole thing.
Oh, they all want a bit of money.
I don't think it's going to happen. I think this is going to fail because also
it sounds like a bet.
Yeah, it's less likely now. I think it's way less likely now. But Microsoft would not be saying this sort of stuff if
it was going well.
They thought they were definitely going to go ahead, and Sony would not be saying all this stuff if they didn't think they had a chance of stopping it.
There does seem to be like an element of feeling of like desperation here with this, of like
every week,
and it's incredible, really, of this stuff. That's
it really
coming
is, really is.
Okay, next story.
Go on.
I mean, this next story is rubbish. So Splinter Cell is being turned into a BBC radio drama. I mean, I included this for Matt, mostly, because I know he's like a huge Splinter Cell fan. I
just love the series, yeah. So that's very exciting for me, a fan of the series.
This is going to be an 8-part series on Radio 4, starting on the 2nd of December.
This isn't news, though, is it? Because this is, presumably, it's based on the fucking books.
No. There's more to it than that. Okay, so do you want to hear that? So this is the synopsis. It says, when a lethal assassin from Fisher's past returns from the dead on a mission of murder, he is thrust into a race against time as a sinister threat to a global security is revealed. Now, okay, I know that sounds very sort of like, that sounds like Splinter Cell or whatever, right? But then Will Poulter, who was in The Maze Runner and We're the Millers, I don't know who this is, never heard of him.
Yeah, no, you definitely would recognise him.
Okay. Well, anyway, he had this to say, because he's in it. He said, I really hope fans of the Splinter Cell game enjoy this, as not only does it have all the action, tension and excitement that the game is famous for, but it also has more elements. There is a lot of comedy, and the drama is expanded and horizons broadened by the characters and what they get up to. It's taking the best of Splinter Cell and building on that to make something really well-rounded. Comedy's not really something I've ever thought of for the Splinter Cell series. I mean,
that's a new direction.
Is there a chance, James, that they've mentioned the game there to try and get it in this news into games publications?
Oh, most certainly, yeah. And I've fallen for it. Yeah, so yeah.
It's just, it's just hit me. Yeah, I've been played.
Yeah.
I have been played. Next.
But
I mean, on the Splinter Cell thing, we did see like some concept art because they've obviously announced a remake, haven't they?
Yeah, that was in December last year.
That is,
they announced
wow.
But
okay. I mean, it is happening. We are seeing some stuff, but yeah.
Next.
This is the last story, which is also grasping. It's Sonic Frontiers is the cornerstone of future Sonic games, says Sonic Team head. So apparently, Sonic Team have said, just like Sonic Adventure, our goal for Sonic Frontiers was to create a game that would be the cornerstone of future Sonic games. It is a brand new approach for the franchise, but we have been conscious to honour Sonic's roots as well. This game still needs to feel like a Sonic game. So that's the thing. It's going to be like
for your news.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, I told you it's really weak this week.
No, it's fine. You haven't got a fantasy zone.
No, there's nothing.
So this leads into the first game we're going to talk about.
That was the idea. Yeah.
So, so I put like 8 or 9 hours into Sonic Frontiers this week. James, how many hours you put in now?
Probably about the same as you. I think probably.
Are you in the second area?
Yeah, I'm in second. I didn't finish it though. Yeah.
The fuck is going on? Like, I don't know what to say, I love it.
Yeah.
Like, I love it.
I know. Yeah,
What the fuck is going on, right? So I've written some notes that I wanted to talk to you about.
So Han, do you love it, or like ironically loving it?
No irony at all. I'm really, really enjoying
I
playing
enjoyed it. It's fun.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it playing it. But I've got a list of things down in front of me entitled Weird Shit in Sonic Frontiers. And I'm just going to read you my notes and then maybe we could talk about each one, James.
Go on.
Skill tree where it's not clear what you've unlocked.
Yep.
You notice that?
100%, yeah. It's
Sometimes some of the items are faded out and sometimes some of them are darker and it doesn't necessarily mean you've got them or not. It's just a skill tree where it's like, there you go.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
Also, what are the
to...
collectibles? Like, I'm not entirely sure what I'm collecting here.
Oh my God, there's like 50 million different types of collectibles. Yeah. I only just found out what the purple coins are for.
What are they for?
The other day. Fishing.
Oh, okay. You've
been fishing
I
yet?
haven't done that yet, no. I hate Big the Cat, and it's just...
Big the Cat's awful in this, but not only that, when you're fishing, you get more consumables. You get more like currency.
Nice.
And it's like, you've got a golden ticket now. I'm like, what's that for?
Yeah.
What the fuck is that for? Right, okay. And you get like fish tokens for various different types of fish that you catch. Right, here we go. When you do unlock a new skill, sometimes it shows you how to use it, and sometimes it just doesn't.
Yep.
Have you noticed that?
That's also true. Yeah.
So, Matt, there's a skill tree, right? And each thing has a special move. Like, it's like a combat move or whatever, an evading move or whatever. Sometimes you unlock them, and it's like, go to the training zone to try it out. So you go to the training zone, you load it up, and you try it out and try it 3 or 4 times, and it goes, well done, you've mastered this move or whatever, and then you carry on. Sometimes you unlock it, and it goes, press L1, L2 to zap and dodge at the same time. You're like, okay, well, I want to try that out. You can't. It's just, there's no training mode for that one. It's just, yeah.
Well, you have to use it in the field, as it were.
Yeah, sort of, but even then you're like, you forget by the time you get into the field, and then you're like, oh,
how do I do that? I'm not sure. But then you can switch, and I think the way that they've tried to get around that is by switching on the auto attack thing, which it just does it for you. Like, you just press the button and it just does loads of moves. You know that you've
really. What's that?
Yeah, in the options you can switch it on. It's like it just basically.
Is that what you've done?
Yeah, I just switched it on because I'm not going to remember all of these, and so it just does it for you.
So old, you're getting so old. Right, what else have I got here? The weird lady voice that says, "You can't do this yet." So there's things in the game which either require like a special move or tokens or whatever, but for some reason, if you go to try and do it, the game audio just cuts or dips down. Everything just freezes, and you get this really slow lady's voice going, "You can't do this yet. You have to come back later." You're like, why is this taking so long? Why can't I just run away while she's saying it? Yeah. Like, I have to stand there still until she's finished saying it.
Whose voice is that as well? Is it meant to be a character?
No, it's just it's like a narrator in it.
Yeah,
James,
I think I don't think it's a character. Yeah,
it's not a character.
But is there a consistent narrator in this game?
No,
it sounds a bit like the woman from Cybermorph on the Jaguar. It's like...
yeah. The mini game where you herd babies to their mum.
Oh, that's the worst. Yeah,
but you have to try and avoid bombs.
Yeah,
and there's funk music playing over top, and if you get it wrong, the babies explode with the mines. Yeah. It's a bit weird.
It is weird, and it's also terrible as well.
Odd.
Each one's terrible. I don't enjoy it.
Did you? I did that really easily. Yeah. That was pretty quick.
No, they get harder. There's more that it gets harder.
No, there's not more. Of
course there is. They just repeat this stuff over and over. Yeah.
Oh, I was going to slag off the Zelda-style flying things, right? Because this is what made me laugh. Like, a lot of people have been saying, look, they've nicked so much from Breath of the Wild, and they have, and they've misunderstood so much from Breath of the Wild, which they have. And one of the examples I was going to give was these flying things. So, do you remember in Breath of the Wild, Matt, where at certain parts of the map, at certain times, like when it was dark or whatever, this huge, beautiful glowing dragon would fly about?
Yeah. Yes.
Do you remember?
Yeah, overhead,
and it was breathtaking the first time you saw it. Like the way it would move and
generally
seeing
quite
it
scary.
off in the distance. And then you learn as you play through the game that if you fire a certain type of arrow at these, they drop like scales, and you can get these scales, and it was a mystery around these fucking things. It was so cool. On this, they've got exactly the same thing, but they're there all the time, and they're just enemies. Like, that's it. Like, it's not like there's not this mystery behind them. It's not. I was going to proper lay into them, but have you taken one of those down yet?
I've tried, but I found it really difficult because I kept falling off.
It's really fucking good.
Yeah.
It's really cool. So in this one, like, you jump on its tail, and then it turns into like a speed runner thing where
like
you're darting left and right to avoid attacks, and then you get to its head and you have to attack its head or whatever. But no, I take that back. I thought it was a really cool enemy, but I just thought it was hilarious how they've taken this thing from Zelda. Like, whoa, let's put a flying thing in our thing then. Well, what are we going to do with it? It just tries to kill you. But that wasn't the point of it in Zelda. In Zelda, it was like this real
majestic,
mystical thing.
You know,
Nah, this one's a flying robot that kills you. Upgrading your health and strength doesn't seem to do anything.
Yeah,
right?
and speed. Like, the speed, I've upgraded that so many times. Don't seem to be going any faster.
I don't seem to be going any faster. The needle on the little speedometer at the bottom right-hand corner goes further, but it doesn't mean you go any faster.
Great. It looks like I'm going faster, but it doesn't feel faster at all.
What I will say, I wrote that when I upgraded my strength from like level 1 to like level 8. Right.
Oh, and then you have to keep doing it over and over and over again. It's like, which is ridiculous.
I didn't realise that it goes up to like, I'm already at like level 50 or whatever.
Yeah.
Because you just, and then you go, oh, there's the difference in power. Because from between 1 and 8, you go to the enemies and go, it's still taking me the exact amount of hits to kill you. Like, it's not made a single difference. But now I'm way higher. It's like one hit to standard enemies and I'm killing them.
The other thing about that is it does the same thing. It does that Animal Crossing thing of where you can't like just do something in one go. It's like you have to keep going to the guy and saying the same thing over and over again to keep upgrading it. So if you're doing that about 20 times, that gets quite irritating. You know, having to keep doing that over and over. It's odd.
Okay. Sonic sounding like a middle management. Right, so I wrote down a line. Imagine Sonic the Hedgehog, Matt, saying this. I want to wrap up our time here ASAP.
That sounds like middle management speaking. I know you hate that, Sonic.
Yeah. That's literally a line from the game. Sonic says that.
Wait, is he trying to be ironic or cool?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, he's trying to be cool.
I want to wrap up my time here ASAP.
Yeah, he's trying to be down with the kids. That's what it's about.
It's terrible.
I still prefer this voice though, David. It's much better than Teen Sonic. It's like
how's this voice compared to the movie Sonic though, James?
Well, totally different. We spoke about this, Matt.
No. But like, which do you prefer, like this or the movie one or the old style one?
Good question.
I prefer this one. Honestly, I can't stand teenage Sonic.
It's so weird though.
It's annoying.
Hey, I'm Sonic. It's like, what the fuck? Why are you so sexy, Sonic?
Exactly. I prefer he sounds like Nathan Drake than like. But
the one in the movies, I think the voice is fine. It's that feels natural now.
This bit made me laugh, James. Sonic questioning the lore behind the overworld that you're running around in. The line was, "These look like homes. I wonder who used to live here." And then I looked at him and went, "These do not look like homes."
No, they really don't. They look
like
they look like Sonic Team bought some assets and didn't know what to do with them.
they were like triangle rocks, basically. Yeah. That was it. Hey, these look like homes. I wonder who used to live here.
So
Sonic,
again,
they don't look like homes, mate.
What Breath of the Wild did was, you wondered how the landscape came to be, what the adventure was around every corner, and Sonic is basically trying to be that for the player. Like, oh man, could these be in homes? No, they're clearly not.
Well, this is
could
it.
there be in homes? No, Sonic.
In Zelda or in Elden Ring or whatever, you come across things and you use your brain to go, if you look here, this looks like the remains of a city almost. Yeah. In this, Sonic goes, it looks like homes. It's like, all right, Sonic, just shut the fuck up.
Looks like homes to me, boy.
Sometimes Sonic will say something, but completely stops dead to say it. I had this a couple of times where I'm running along and Sonic wanted to say something like, I must go and speak to Amy, but he just stops dead. Just stops dead, says his line, and then you can move again. It's like, why have they added that in? Why does the game do that? But it does do some amazing things, I think, right? So here's what I've written down. The puzzle where you draw the rails and then flip the switch, and then the rails like draw in front of you in the same way that you've drawn them. That I thought that was really cool. What do you think of the meteor shower stuff, James?
That is so strange, isn't it? Don't you
It's
think
really
it's really,
odd.
really strange? And it's like, because it brings, so this is the point where it seems every couple of days, like in game time, it does this weird thing where there's like a meteor shower, but then there's also like a slot machine like thing appears like on the screen. And I'm not entirely sure how it works, honestly.
Nor am I.
And it's like you go around like collecting stuff, and then you seem to get more of some things and more like less of others. I'm not entirely sure how it works.
So
Wait, is that like a reference to like Casino Zone or whatever?
yeah,
or?
that's what they're trying to evoke, I think, from it.
But what it is that you run around. There's like these little bits of meteor like all over the floor, and you run around, and it looks great, right? Because there's like loads of these like different color beams like firing off into the sky. It doesn't look great. It just looks good for this game, I guess. So you're running around collecting all these things, and while you're doing it, there's a slot machine bang in the centre of the screen that seems to go, here's how many meteor bits you've got, and here's how many purple coins you've got. And there seems to be no rhyme or reason to whether you're like winning or losing or what that means, right? So I've got no idea what's going on. And at the end of it, you go, oh, that was the blood red moon bit in Zelda Breath of the Wild, because all of the big enemies just respawn, basically.
Moon rises once again. Please be careful, Link. You know, it's
yeah.
Well, that sounds cool.
I mean, it's weird. It's weird. And then finally, that fight with Gigantian or whatever its name is, the fight to get to the second.
Yeah.
Because I'm sitting there, right? Let's talk about the progression in this game briefly. I didn't know what I was supposed to be doing to progress. Like, it comes up, there's like a symbol in the top right hand corner.
Yeah.
And for the majority of the time, Matt, you've got to find Amy. There are various different Amy stations around the land, and you have to give her love hearts that you collect by running around the
Doing
stage,
stuff,
right?
yeah.
Doing stuff, yeah.
Sounds normal.
Yeah, that's completely normal. And you need so you need that to progress the story, and you need vault keys to get the Chaos Emeralds, right?
Yeah.
So the idea is that you see all of Amy's memories, and you collect all of the Chaos Emeralds in that zone, and then you can progress, right? I think that's it.
Yeah.
But the problem is, it gives you no indication on how to get the hearts. And it took me a while to realise that actually you could just get the hearts from doing anything, really, and it just randomly chucks them to you every now and then.
And the problem with that is that I got to the stage whereby I just thought, okay, I forget this. I'm just going to explore everywhere and just do like all the puzzles and stuff like that, and just doing, cut around, that kind of thing. So I did all of that, but then I got to the stage where it was like, you need to go and talk to Amy. And then basically it just kept. So I went and talked to her, gave her a bunch of love hearts. Some awful cutscene, like they're awful, like really
terrible.
awful.
They'll be like, it's like, hey Sonic, I think it's really beautiful up here. Yeah, really makes you think about what happened here once. Yeah, I wish I could touch the grass. Yeah, well, I better get going. And then it carries on.
Yeah, but then you do that, and then it's like, go and talk to Amy. And then you've got to like go across the map and do the same thing again, and it's exactly the same with more awful dialogue, like really terrible dialogue, and but you just do it like multiple times until you've like run out of having to go and talk to her. It's very strange. I think what they meant you to do was that you were supposed to like do these things, like go to like a regular stage, do that, get some vault keys, do some puzzles, then go and see Amy. You weren't supposed to do them one after the other because it just really breaks the flow. But
also, if you mainline it, it totally breaks it, does it? Yeah.
How's about this? How about the vault keys? You get the vault keys, you go into those levels. That's the levels is where you earn not more vault keys. That's where you earn the love hearts to talk to Amy.
Yeah.
That's what it should have been. That structure. This had no structure. I was like, well, where do I get these hearts? Oh, they're hiding away in various different places around the map. Okay, fine. And then I just did one of those circle moves, and one of them popped up.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, so I can get them by doing that.
And there's
there's
also millions of them as well. Like they're everywhere. And it's just
I've got like but they're not visible.
No,
that's the problem.
They're visible on the map.
Get them.
You can see them on the map, but you can't see them.
Can you?
Yeah, you can. It shows you where those things are going to be, like on the map.
All of them.
Yeah.
What, even the ones where you just do like a little circle and it gives you it?
No, not those ones. But if you maybe we're thinking about different collectibles. I'm
thinking about the pink love hearts that you need to collect to take to To Amy.
I think it's those, but I'm not sure because there's like.
Oh, for fuck's sake! There's so many of them.
Barley's correction zone.
So you do all of this, right?
Yeah.
So then you face this like a giganton. Oh, I can't remember the name of it, but it's like this massive, great big robot. And initially, I thought, oh, this is going to be great because it's huge, right? And your first task is to climb up it and get to the head, get the last Chaos Emerald, and then you turn into Supersonic.
Yeah.
When you turn into Supersonic, Matt, it's so laughably bad. Like, it's so terrible. Yeah. It turns into like this heavy metal music, doesn't it, James?
Yeah, it goes full Sonic Adventure, like with all that. Yeah,
you're sort of flying in and out of the enemy and attacking it, and it doesn't feel right, and the camera's all over the place. It doesn't feel good to control.
It doesn't feel cool and powerful like it's supposed to.
Cool.
It feels Sonic feels like he has absolutely no weight at all.
Absolute zero weight. And also, I don't know if you found this, James, but I had to come out of it. Like, so the idea is that you collect rings, and that's how long you stay alive as Supersonic, right? Yeah. So rings equal time when you're Supersonic. So I made the mistake of entering that area with 0 rings. So that was my biggest mistake. Second thing is that I hadn't upgraded my strength enough. So literally, it took me ages just to chip away at his health. Mm-hmm. There was no way I was going to do it within the time. Before we recorded this, I finally did it, right? And I got to the next area. But it took fucking ages. It felt to me, James, like there was a weak spot and I just wasn't picking up where it was. Yeah. And like if I'd have hit it like 3 or 4 times, it would have taken down a quarter of its health. Mm-hmm. But instead, I'm going bump, 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 and a sliver of its health was going.
But there is a special move that you can do, which does that, which like takes off like big chunks each time.
What's the special move?
Well,
what are you doing?
It flashes up, like you have to like press one of the buttons at like the right moment, like exactly the right moment, and then you like slam down on its head, and then it does more damage.
Okay, that's it. That's the move I didn't know that I had to do there.
Okay. Yeah.
So you were just for me. You were just trying to do stuff and like nothing's happening. I'll exit the.
Oh my god!
mode.
It took me about 20 to 25 minutes to beat that. I'm assuming it was supposed to take me like 5 minutes, James.
Yeah, it was about 4 or 5 minutes. I think it took me.
Right. Okay. There's definitely a move didn't come up that I did not get a prompt. The only prompt I got is when he's like holding open his jaws and you have to hammer a square. That was it. That's mental. Yeah. So there's a whole way of beating it. How did you know to do that?
Because it flashed up. Like when I did it, I think you have to go like when you go towards him, you can control the angle that you're going at when you go towards him. I remember. And so if you go at it from a certain angle, it then flashes up with this thing of like you press the button now, and then you like slam down like on its head.
Didn't have that. That is incredibly frustrating.
You need to hit it from a certain angle, David.
Yeah, I should have done it from a certain angle, I reckon. Anyway, he's dead. I continued. That's all the weird stuff in Sonic Frontiers. I bloody love it.
Yeah. So how many hours have you put into it in total now, David? Sorry, did you say again?
Eight, between 8 and 9, I think.
Okay, it's like a 20-hour game, isn't it?
Well,
but that's the thing. People keep saying that, but then I've put in about the same, and I'm only about halfway through maybe the second area. And I'm just thinking, I've nearly played about 10 hours here. About five areas, I think. And
okay, yeah, I'm way off. Oh, wow, that's really cool. I'm excited because here's the thing. All of that aside, right, it's really nice to just run around in that
absolutely.
game. And, it's not perfect, as you said. I mean, especially shows up how bad the control and the feel of the game is when you're supposed to be doing platforming, right? And even some of the Portal worlds just feel like this is just not fun to play anymore. But just the feeling of just running around and doing stuff, doing these little puzzles, I think there's a real good basis for a game here.
Yeah.
And although the news story that you were just talking about is that this is the cornerstone for future Sonic games, I hope they pick out the right stuff from it and drop the stuff that doesn't work, because this is the first time where you're running around as 3D Sonic and not feeling like it's a total like it's not,
you're not
fun
like
to run
clipping
around
through the floor and that kind of thing.
You feel like big old open fields, really like huge areas to run around in. That's what Sonic games should be.
It's so
really
weird
zoomed
because
out.
yeah. Because it feels, I mean, again, I haven't played it, but it feels like, obviously, so you're in the open world area, and then there's like the classic Sonic levels, and they put them in for like the fans. But everyone, yourself included, have said they could ditch that stuff and just have the open world stuff, and that will make a great game. It's like the stuff they put in because I felt like the fans want that. That's core Sonic, that's true Sonic, and that's like the thing, that's the core of the game. Turns out that's the stuff that put everyone, I could leave that. I want the open world stuff. So that's what you both think then.
Well, it's weird, isn't it? Because we're not Sonic fans, right? And we're not the customers that are going to buy every Sonic game that they ever release because we're massive Sonic fans. So to some extent, they have to keep hold of those fans, right? They have to keep those people on board because they're the consistent, they're the people that are keeping that series afloat. So if they just ditched all of classic Sonic and run the risk of losing those people, all right, they've got a bunch of video game nerds and journalists and stuff raving about their game, but will they sell as many? Probably not.
This has sold very well. Like, apparently, this is done very well. Yeah, it's worked out very well for them. I mean, as you said, the thing that's fun about it is the puzzles, and it's also just things like figuring out how to get to places. It's like how can I get to whatever, sure. And which of these like rails do I need to grind on and stuff like that. That's what's been fun about it. It is one of those...
What I like, and I don't know if you. It reminds me a little bit of Spider-Man when I got obsessed with that game.
Oh yeah.
I think I looked at the map and I said, "There's a ton of icons here, but I know each icon's not going to take me more than 20 seconds." The puzzles are: here's a statue, run around the statue.
Yeah.
Ba-ding! You've completed the puzzle. Here's a lights out segment. You can play lights out for a little bit. It's not really lights out, but it's like a panel. There's like a bunch of panels, and you have to touch the panels without jumping or leaving. To get to the next one. Really simple stuff that takes 20 seconds to a minute to complete, and then you're on to the next puzzle. That I want that. Like, the problem with the open world games where you have so many icons is that 90% of those things is like an hour-long commitment.
Yeah.
That's just intimidating to me. Mm-hmm. Whereas with Spider-Man, it was like, if you go here, you pick up a backpack. If you go here and take a photo, you'll get that ticked off your list. And that's why I got obsessed with that.
And what's so cool about that is because they're so short, you actually end up playing often for much longer than you would.
Way longer.
Because you're just like, I'll just go and do that one. It's not going to take long. And it's like,
it's just around the corner. Let's see what's over there. Yeah. It's there's a basis for a game here that is has, for me personally, brings interest back into Sonic. And if they can make it look a million times better than what it does at the moment, because it does look shit, right? Especially the character models, they look appalling, right? Sonic himself looks absolutely shocking. Robotnik is embarrassing that it's on a modern day system. The pop-in, ridiculous. If they can get a version of this where it takes the good stuff, drops the shit, and makes it look good, then fuck, they've got a series. They could legitimately bring Sonic back. Sonic Frontiers isn't the one, but it's a start. It's a step in the right direction.
I'll tell you what I'd love. I'd love it if they did this. But I'd love it if they did the art style of the original games as well. Do you know what I mean? Like if it was like Green Hill Zone, like if you had that, but you're running around that in 3D,
you
probably
would
like this.
You really need to nail that.
Yeah,
that's going to be so hard to nail.
Yeah,
I mean, be difficult. They've got 3D sort of looking things in that style, yes, right? But it's not to the same scope.
But that's the thing, because it looks really. See, that's the thing. Those classic levels, like inverted commas, they have there. They're horrible. I don't enjoy playing them at all, but they do look amazing. They look really nice. And I'm just thinking, imagine that, but just running around that in 3D, as you are on the overworld.
I don't think that's as straightforward as you think.
No, I'm sure it isn't, but it's still imagine if you with this, you've got islands that you're going from place to place. Imagine if that was just the zones, and you're just going from that'd be nice. But
it just worries me that it would just look so fucking overly garish having that much of that style.
That's true. Yeah, that may be just.
I would like to see. I don't mind the realistic style, but I would like to have seen a lot more visual play between the real stuff and the Sonic stuff.
This is on PC, right? someone's bound to have modded that. Someone's bound to have taken original kind of assets and said, this is what it would look like if the whole environment looked like that.
Possibly. I would like to see more like the elements being interacting with each other a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Like Sonic running so fast that he's leaving a trail of fire behind him and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Burning the grass that he's running through. You know, stuff like that I want to see, rather than just at the moment it's kind of like Sonic running, as you say, on a tech demo.
But is all the open world environments, all of them the same kind of one you see at the beginning? There's no like, this is a lava zone, this is a fire.
No, the moment I thought it was going to be like that actually, but then the moment I saw the second zone, I was like, oh, okay,
yeah,
brilliant.
But also the second zone look crap.
Does it look crap?
It looks worse than the first one, I think.
I mean, I'm desperate to see what the other zones look like.
That's what I'm more interested in, because the second one I was like, oh, this is a bit disappointing, actually, after the first one. But...
Also, I found that enemies way harder to kill from the off in that second zone.
Yeah.
I'm excited, though, because, again, some of the enemy ideas are really interesting. The one that leaves like a grid of things that you have to hit, and if you hit the red one, you explode. Like, I love that. I think it's great. More of that. You know what I mean? What a weird game.
Do you want some breaking news?
Oh, it's not Microsoft and Activision, is it?
It's Nintendo related.
Oh, okay, go on.
Oh, wait. It's Nintendo. Is this like big
Is this
news?
rubbish Nintendo news or good Nintendo news?
No, this is big news.
Oh.
Right. Oh my god, okay, right. Is it about new hardware?
No.
Oh.
Okay, is it about new software?
No.
Is it about Nintendo Land? Please tell me it's not.
It's about the movie.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
On the 29th of November, so that is the day after we record, so that's Tuesday, at
Tomorrow.
10 p.m. UK time, it's a world premiere of the new trailer.
Oh,
That's not big news. That's
What? It totally is, do
news.
you not think?
No. How dare you? The amount of times you've said to James, don't do breaking news unless it's like
That's
massive.
really big. I can't wait to see a second trailer.
Yeah,
I thought when you
like
said
to see a second
this
trailer,
is big
but also I
Nintendo
don't
news, I
really
thought you were going to
want
say like Mario Odyssey 2's been announced or something like that.
Yeah,
I think that's way bigger than stuff. You're like, guys, breaking news. We're like, oh, what is it? That's decent. I'm looking forward to that.
Sonic Frontiers, give it a go, especially if it comes out for cheap,
I think you can get it
which
cheap.
it will do over Christmas. I have been specifically told don't go anywhere near
the Switch one.
the Switch version.
Or
bet it looks
apparently,
horrific.
or the PC one apparently is also a mess if you're playing it on Steam Deck. It's not very good.
But that'll get modded eventually.
Probably,
That'll get fixed.
Whereas there's no chance of the Nintendo one being updated at all.
I wanted to ask about post-release updates. Have there been patches to make improvements, or have we not noticed? Maybe
There's one that's just
noticing.
come out. One has just come out either today or it's coming out very soon for PlayStation only for some reason. But then apparently it's coming to other platforms later. It's very strange. I don't know why they've done that, but yeah, apparently that's got a bunch of
But
improvements.
what's in the patch? I thought you were going to tell us.
I'll have to have a look. I wasn't expecting to have to explain
Why bring it up?
why bring up, James?
Keep talking, and I'll
Okay,
see if I
so
can find
two
it.
things. I mean, I've
Why
seen some
didn't
people.
you bring it up, Matt?
I've seen. Yeah, why did you do it, James? I've seen some people suggesting like this is absolute Game Pass bound. Like they will be so surprised if it doesn't. What do you think about that? It's just destined for Game Pass.
Has it been Sonic games on Game? Yeah, of course there has. Yeah, I mean, yeah, fine, but I don't think that it'll be, especially if it's selling well. They won't do it until late next year, maybe.
Yeah, I can see that. And also, so I've always seen some pretty steep discounts on this.
I can see. I can see if this comes out on Game Pass a lot. Like everyone will try it.
Yeah.
I bet people are like, you must be curious to give this a go, right?
Oh yeah, I really want to play it. Yeah, and if it is cheap over Christmas and or Game Pass, I will absolutely play it.
Yeah.
I just want to see what it's like. You know, that's what I'm not because I think it'll be a great game or this and that. I just want to experience what it is actually like.
It's fucking weird, is what it's like. It's weird. Go on, James.
So this is what the patch does. So it's out now for PlayStation consoles, and apparently it's coming in the near future for other platforms. It says Sonic Frontiers 1.1 update is about to be deployed. The update primarily hopes to address bugs and issues with the game, as well as some additional, if unspecified, quality of life improvements for players. That's all it says.
No, that's all it says.
It's just
See the one bug that I have had in the game is when I entered a fight with one of those flying Zelda things, and then the game just thought I was in a battle with it for like, even though I was nowhere near it, I still couldn't go to my map because it thought I was battling it.
That's really annoying, and it does the music as well. And it's like, please stop playing that. It's really annoying.
Did you get the same thing then?
Yeah, I've had that multiple times in the first area.
I also had a couple of, actually, I mean, that's probably it for Sonic. And actually, no, let's go to Signalis first before we go on to God of War, shall we?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, because you've been playing that, James, and I'm interested in this one.
Yeah, I mean, Matt, you've finished it, haven't you?
Is it Signalis?
Yeah,
or?
yeah, Signalis, yeah.
Okay.
And you've played it and finished it, right, Matt?
Yeah.
See, I started this about 2 weeks ago, I think it was, but it's taken me a while to sort of get into it. And I'm still, at this stage, I'm not that sure how far I'm in. I mean, I can name an area, which is...
Is this the PS1 inspired?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right, okay. I thought this was something else. Okay, go on.
And it's kind of like a survival horror game, which has the most incredible atmosphere that I've played in anything for quite a long time. It's absolutely terrific. And it does all this really cool stuff with like radio transmissions as well, like where you pick up this accessory where you can like tune into different radio stations and stuff while you're playing, which then gives like really creepy, weird puzzle solutions and stuff. But I mean, I'm down to the mines, Matt. Is that far?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, because that's how far I've got, and I've found most areas I've found to be quite enjoyable to go through in the sense that the puzzles are quite logical. You go from one area to another. It really is that sort of like pick up this key to unlock another thing to give you an item that you need to open something else. Yeah. And you're basically doing that kind of thing over and over again. But because the atmosphere is so sort of oppressive, it really does make any movement that you're doing sort of feel like a risk, from going from place to place, which is
you're
what's
not
cool.
traversing, going down a corridor. You're like, okay, well, I need to go here.
Yeah.
I want nothing on me because I've only got 6 like inventory slots. I know I'm going to pick up 2 items and use that for this, and and it's really clever.
And also, like even if you kill things, they come back as well, which is the worst thing. Like if you like. You think, okay, I've eliminated everything in this area, so I should be cool, to like go through here. Do it a couple of times, and they come back, and it's horrible. Like the sound.
Yeah, I'm not sure if like that's totally random, or the more you go back to down that same corridor, like the greater chance of them appearing is. And so when you say you're in the mines, you're in a place where there's no map, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I mean that whole area is supposed to kind of like I mean, upset you is the wrong word, but basically make you feel uneasy because there's no map, and it's different to how the couple of hours you've done beforehand, where you got the map, you can see the rooms, you know where you're going. So I wasn't a huge fan of that area just because I felt a bit like uneasy about it, but it's a core kind of part of it.
All the other areas feel like very logical. Like it's. I mean, what this is, the game starts off where you're in like a spaceship and you think, okay, I'm exploring, walking around in third person around this spaceship, trying to figure out what's going on, what I am, what I need to do. But then you get out of it and you realise the spaceship is actually, it's crashed, right, on this planet, it seems.
Yeah.
And then you like enter this facility and you're like trying to figure out, again, where do I need to go? What am I trying to figure? What's going on here? But then also, from time to time, it goes into first person as well. So you like navigate areas where you're trying to like figure out, what's of use here and where, how can I unlock these doors? Yes, it's the usual sort of puzzle, trying to figure things out. But I know I keep saying this, but it's so oppressive, the feeling to the game, which and that's mostly down to the sound. Like the sound design is so good, like in this. But it's also, I mean, it is very like atmospheric and everything. But then also, I don't feel it's very, very scary. Did you find it scary,
No, I
Matt?
didn't think so. I mean, when I played it and I said, Sean, you should play this, I think you'll really get a lot out of it. And he's like, is it scary? I'm like, it's not scary, no. But Sean thought it was. But I didn't think it was scary at all. I mean, definitely atmospheric and tense at points. And, the music and all the stuff James just mentioned definitely adds to that. But no, I didn't think it's scary at all.
I mean, and some of the puzzles are a bit obscure as well, which irritates it. They're very much like that sort of like PlayStation 1 era like puzzle design, which it's like you to get things exactly right.
What I found is that this is really obscure, but that just made me think I don't have all the bits. And when you get all the bits, then it's like, okay, it's quite obvious. You put that there and go here and go there. Like the first few hours, I was like whizzing through them. Then when I got stuck, I'm like, oh man, it's really got hard now. But it hadn't. It's just because I hadn't collected all the bits I needed to make that puzzle make sense. Yeah,
I had that with a star chart bit that I did a minute ago, which was really annoying.
Oh right, yeah.
But But overall, this is definitely worth playing. I mean, I'm playing it on Switch at the moment. It's on Game Pass as well. I mean, I'm playing it on Switch because then I can play it like anywhere. But
that's where I played it too.
And it does feel like the sort of game that benefits from like sitting there with headphones on, like close to the screen, and more than anything.
Does it do jump scares?
No, not really. I mean, I wouldn't say so. I mean, there's jump scares in the sense that when you're walking around, like things like come out from the floor and stuff like that. But it's not like sort of like it's like very sort of like gradual. Like the music all kicks in and it's like what's coming, and it's like it's more of a sense of dread it gives you rather than jump scares, which is why I
absolutely hate jump scares in every way, shape, or I hate it if Elodie like comes up, next to him. I'm like, for fuck's sake!
I know we've seen you scream and cover
so
your
I hate
face
even that, let alone kind of movie jump scares or game scares. So if this game did it, I didn't notice. It's just not that. Yeah, as James says, it's just like an unnerving.
What's the worst jump scare you've ever had, Matt?
I mean anything in PT.
Was PT the worst?
Probably, yeah.
What was the game where Jill come through the door?
That was just Resident Evil 2. And I was getting chased by Mr. X, but no, PT absolutely the worst. I mean, anyone who's seen that highlights video can attest to that.
Yeah, that was
Signalis is absolutely excellent. I love so much about it. The writing, like the mystery, the way it fuses some first person with third person. The puzzles are great and really clever. You feel clever by doing them. It's like, I just think it's an absolutely excellent game.
And it's that usual PS1 era thing as well of like figuring out the story by piecing together, by reading like notes that you find like around the place, and it's like you start to figure out what's going on, and it's nice. It's what I
really appreciate about the notes, like it tells the story through notes and other things, but like they're not incredibly wordy. You can there's like maximum 4 quick tabs to flick through. They're not like I picked up some lore stuff, but it's like 500 words to read through. Like they're really easy and quick.
But
to
also
read
they're well written though. It's not like the original Resident Evil thing. That sort of like
itchy,
I got
tasty.
bitten by somebody the other day. Oh, I'm starting to feel a bit ill, and then it's like the next entry is like, I feel like I want to eat somebody.
Yeah, I think I'm a zombie now.
The absolute best for that was Division 2. Mm-hmm. Those ones in Division 2 were just so funny. Mm-hmm. Like, hey, have you seen Gary? No, last time I saw him, he was coughing in the toilets. Well, I need to go to the toilet. Come on, Gary, get out of there. What? Gary?
Poor Gary.
Absolutely. Poor Gary's the name of the podcast this week, I think. I'm thinking 1 week, right, Matt? No. This is off the show chat. I just realised it's just hit me. Just about the naming convention. I've got an idea for that. Maybe we should do.
I was thinking the other day in the car about the naming convention. And, recently...
What, you going to a naming convention?
Yeah, I went on the weekend. It was incredible. Absolutely incredible, yeah. But no, obviously we talked about the fact I was concerned about having swear words, naughty words in the title, and I was like, how about we call it, fuck my cunt.
Right, yeah, you said the T-bomb.
I might do that 1 week out of the blue. We were like, it has to be Poor Gary, and then bang. It's like, what? It's called what this week?
Okay.
I might do that for Game of the Year special.
Okay. Let's not do it for the Game of the Year special. Now I'm the one bottling it.
Oh, come on, you square.
Did you have anything else to say about this one?
Not really,
James?
No. That's
Does that tempt you at all, David? Or
no, it's not it's not the sort of game that I like playing. I don't really dig thrillers or horrors. I don't really like the style. I've not got no nostalgia for that era of gaming at all. So no,
you didn't play any early survival horror games like Resi or Dino
I played
Crisis
Resident Evil 1, but on the Sega Saturn.
Same here, brother. That's why I played it. Best place to play. Best version, I heard. Best version.
I don't know. I heard it was the weak one, wasn't it?
Wow, I didn't listen to some people. Best one.
But I didn't play Metal Gear Solid 1, and I never really had... I didn't own a PlayStation 1. Mm-hmm. So I think that era of that sort of isometric 3D gaming is just never...
Because I played... Sorry? Neither did I. I mean, I played Resident Evil 2. I played that on the N64. I played the N64 version of that, which was odd. Yeah, it was...
Ouch.
Yeah, I also didn't own a PlayStation 1. Mostly because I was incredibly bitter at the time that they killed... I said they killed Sega. I think I've said this before, but my parents at Christmas said, You can get a console. Do you want a PlayStation, or do you want basically like what do you want? And there was the options were PlayStation 1 or Saturn, but obviously I was going to get Saturn. That's what my mate said.
Yeah, same here. But I look at that as the worst decision I've ever made in my life, I think.
I don't, because well, maybe it was, but I had a blast. So yeah,
So
I
did
wasn't going to get a
but at the same
PlayStation when we
time,
were all
what was I
playing
thinking?
International Victory Goal, was I?
See, I held out for the N64. Like for ages, they got that, and I don't feel I regretted that because it was
No,
it
the
was good.
N64 was unbelievable.
Yeah, you had some of the best games ever.
Yeah. But I do feel like I missed out on the PlayStation thing. I mean, I got PlayStation 2.
Yeah,
and that
yes,
was,
yeah, got that.
Grand Theft Auto 3, getting that. Oh my God, I'll never forget that Christmas. Getting a PS2, Grand Theft Auto 3, and no memory card. So every time we wanted to play Grand Theft Auto, all we heard was, "Hi, I'm Misty," over and over.
It's funny you said you'll never
again.
forget that. Because, or maybe never remember it because there's no memory cards, etc., etc. James,
My brain doesn't have a memory card.
no, you said didn't you say you never forget that, and you had
I'll
a memory
never forget
card?
that. No, because it was a memory in my brain.
Oh yeah, it wasn't a console memory. James,
No.
N64. When you had that,
That's
like
the
the whole
same.
point of that was like multiplayer gaming. Did you have loads of pads to play with your friends, or were you mostly playing single player stuff?
I had 2 pads, and I played International Superstar Soccer 64 with other people, but that was about it. Yeah, I didn't play much else. I played a bit of GoldenEye, but not that much.
Oh, you didn't play that much GoldenEye?
Not really,
We had
no.
I had my mates over for my birthday. We all played. We had 2 N64s and GoldenEye and all that sort of stuff.
It was partly
We
because
had our own.
when I got GoldenEye, it was like I had no money, and it was the point at which I just got a job, and then I started to be able to buy games for myself. And I bought GoldenEye, but it had been out for ages, by that point, and so people weren't really that interested in playing it anymore.
Oh, God,
Man, yeah, the
but
memories
even
of
a single
playing-
player was amazing.
It
when I
was, yeah,
first
it was-
played
it
It's
was
like, oh
excellent,
my
yeah.
God, terrible now. But things have moved on. Should we get to God of War?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
I mean, I'll probably be brief because I think I've said everything that I want to say about the game. But I'm interested to hear how James is getting on and how Matt's getting on, actually, because neither of you were at that point of where things change, in my opinion, last week. I want to hear, but I have now completed it. And I've got to say that it sticks it right to the end. It's so good. And even then, I mean, we'll talk about post-game stuff in a bit. But Matt, where are you up to?
So I finished it as well.
Oh, Matt's pretty worried. I know, because you texted me about it last night.
Yes,
but for the good of the show,
I
I'm pretending
finished
not to
that
know.
game. Yeah.
Yes,
James.
okay. What did you think? Do you also think that it stuck the ending?
Yeah, I think it got progressively better and better. Basically,
I'm going to say it. The wall is the line, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the wall was such a great, a totally different level. But I was like, this just feels and looks amazing, even though it's relatively simple what you're doing. But yeah, it really ramps it up. I mean, if anything, like I think the story kind of comes in too late in the game.
Way too late.
Like,
yeah,
it's
that's what I'm saying,
really interesting and great, but it feels like I want more of that sooner. I mean, they've obviously not what they're doing. But no, I thought it was great. I don't think it was like a 10 that a lot of places have kind of rated it. I think it's an excellent 9. But I don't.
I would say it's a 9. I wouldn't give it a 10 if I was reviewing it, because I think, as you say, the intro. I think what the intro is trying to do is bridge the gap between the last God of War, and this God of War. And I think what they've done slightly, in my view, is that they've overestimated the impact of the last game over the space of what you're talking. This is 4 years later, right?
Yeah, 3 years.
So
I think.
I think. No, 2018.
Oh,
right?
sorry, I thought you meant in game time. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So this is 4 years since the last game come out. So I think my memory and my care for that story has gone down slightly. I'm not as interested in it as like when I finished that game. Then I also think they were trying to introduce like tons of new characters, and they didn't really give them the build up. I think they could have done it in a much more interesting way than, hey, you've met a new character now, and now you've met a new character. I didn't find that particularly interesting. So I felt they could have improved those opening 5 or 6 hours. I'm fascinated to hear where James is, because James did this amazing thing. He texted me in the week and he went, I think I'm at the bit where, everything changes? And then when the way he was talking, I was thinking, you're not there yet. And I said, look, are you at the wall? And he said, there's been many walls. And I was like, you're not there yet.
I've climbed lots of walls.
Yet. So have you made the wall yet, James?
No, I don't think I have in that case.
Oh, wow. No, you definitely haven't then.
Yeah, because... See, the thing is, this has really taken me some time to get into, and it's like maybe even longer than it did in terms of I didn't even feel like playing it for like quite a long time, because although that stuff at the beginning is fine, it did feel like a bit of a trudge to get through, and I really was like just thinking, I don't know why I'm doing this. What's the point? It's fine, but it's not like amazing or anything. But then over the last couple of days, I put some more time into it, and for me, it has now clicked, and I can't stop playing it, and I wish I was playing it right now.
It's a really good sign. Yeah. It's a really good sign that it's clicked now. I tell you, yeah. If it's clicking before the bit where it gets really good, then I'm.
You see, I was previously enjoying like the core loop of like the fighting, looting, and exploring. I was enjoying that anyway. Yeah, that was pretty good. But then it's now that the character stuff seems to have kicked up a gear. And it's become significantly more interesting.
That goes through the roof. The character stuff goes through the roof. And I think it's safe to say now we can probably talk about the fact that you are one of the big changes. And this is something that I accidentally spoiled for you, Matt, because I thought when you said, it goes very Last of Us Part 2, I thought, he's got to the bit where he's not just playing as the character that we thought we were going to be playing throughout the whole game. And it hadn't, so I didn't know what you were referring to. So I was so sure that you'd already got to the bits where you're playing as Atreus. And
no, I hadn't. Yeah, literally seconds after we ended the pod last week? So the bit you play as Atreus, I'm like, the what? That wasn't what I meant. It feels
so good to play as Atreus. Really.
I know. I wouldn't say I enjoy it more than Kratos, but it is still. I would. It's still excellent.
I think I did. I think I did by the end. Yeah, I mean, not even by the end. I think some of like Atreus' movesets were just like really, really satisfying, and it wasn't like I'm going back to Atreus now. It's like I'm going back to Atreus. I can do this and do that. Yeah, I preferred playing as him overall.
Playing with him, I find it easier to link like combos together as well. Like I don't know why, but I find it much easier to destroy enemies by just linking stuff together, which has been pretty good.
No, I think he's great to play as.
But the bit that I've just played with playing as Atreus was amazing, and it was the part at the end of it where that section ends and you kind of do a race, and I got kind of emotional like during that. I thought it was
yeah. So you've seen like the paint effect stuff now, right?
I've seen all that.
How good is that? Yeah. How good is that stuff?
It looks incredible as well. The game looks incredible.
Did you ever stop and look around? Well, that area is like a cut above the stuff you'd seen so far. It gets better looking for sure. Did you ever stop after a battle and look at the dust on the floor and stuff?
Yeah.
It's mad.
Yeah.
It's mad.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Like, that's one of the most impressive things I've seen this gen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and sadly, there's not a lot of that after that area that you've done. Mm-hmm. Because I thought this is such an amazing, like, looking thing. I thought they would have just, like, done that in every level going forward, but they don't. But I mean, that was the first time I was impressed by the game, I think, that level. But it's not, it takes a dip again, doesn't it, Matt?
Well,
and then,
the bit I'm on at the moment is annoying me a little bit because there's a lot of exploding things around, which are...
Oh my God, that is so... Who come up with that idea? So there's an area, what James is referring to, if you haven't played it, there's an area where you're walking through a forest and just some of the plants explode, or some of the plants, like, see you and then chuck stuff at you. As you're walking around, and I was just like, fuck this. Have you knocked it down a setting yet?
I'm on the one, I'm not on the easiest one, but I'm on the one above that, I think. You know where it's like...
Is it called Give Me Grace?
Yes, I think it's that one, yeah. For me, it feels about perfect because it allows you to sort of focus on the story, but I don't feel like I'm just walking through the game. Yeah. There still does feel like there's a bit of a challenge.
Absolutely. I was playing a balance for the first 8 or so, 9 hours, and then when I knocked down to Give Me Grace, like the one below middle, it felt so much better. Yeah. So much more fun. And I'm glad I did, because there were some bits before, I was like, even other bosses, I was like, it's annoying me, but knocking it down, way more fun. I enjoyed it so much more. I enjoyed combat more.
It's sweet though, isn't it? Because it's like with like things like Elden Ring, it's like you can't do that, obviously, and it's still but it's a different kind of combat. That I enjoy trying to figure it out in that, whereas in this it's not.
I think it's the
like
setup for the game as well. I mean, for this is a linear game, and you feel like you're heading towards a goal, whereas with Elden Ring I felt like I wasn't heading towards a goal and I was happy to explore, so I wasn't getting frustrated if I was getting held back in an area, because I was like, okay, well, I'm not actually going towards this final destination, whereas God of War, although it has areas where you can go exploring a little bit, it's obviously not as open as Elden Ring. But it feels like my main thing is that I'm heading towards an ending, and anything that's slowing that down is just delaying me getting to the ending, But
with all the Souls games, it's always like the fact that I always feel like there's some way I can get through this, and I just need to go somewhere else, find something else that will help me to beat it or whatever, that kind of thing. Whereas you don't get that with God of War because of how linear it is.
You get stuck in the fight, don't you?
It's but that's not a bad thing. It's just a different style in it.
But you're right about not being able to put it down. I mean, I completed it quite quickly, really, over the 3 weeks I played it. I rarely, put that much time into a game. And it's literally because you sit down to play it and you're like, oh my God, 2.5 hours have gone.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy to just move on to the next bit. It's so easy to consume it all. And what I wanted to talk to you about, Matt, is that I'm so impressed with the post-credit stuff. Like, there's a significant change post-credit, right? I think that's an okay thing to say.
Yeah.
And it must somehow lock some stuff off. Because my idea was that if I'm still feeling it after the credits, I'll go back and do a lot of side stuff. I don't know. I'd love to know how possible that is. And whether
I got
that's
the
been
impression you could do everything you didn't do, like, in terms of side quests. I think if anything, it's more open than closed off. But
possibly.
That's the impression I've got, at least. But
the stuff that I love is that there's like missions that are like, there's missions specifically for post-credit stuff.
Yeah,
it's like,
there's
you've
also
done this
a lot
now,
of lore and story stuff that they've actually kept back. I listened to a bit of a spoiler cast today, and they were like, I can't remember the phrase they used, but they basically wanted to kind of reward players who finished a game and wanted to see more. It wasn't like, it feels like there is a ton more cool,
it feels like Red Dead 2, right? It feels very Red Dead 2. You get to the end of Red Dead 2 and you're like, oh, there's all this other stuff. And I don't know if it's as in-depth as that game was, but the missions that I've done have been really good, and really, like, quite important as well. So I appreciate that a lot. I mean, it's something we said, it was the main criticism I've got for Breath of the Wild is that I don't get to see the world that I saved. It gets to the end and it goes, well done, here's you back at the bit just before the final boss.
Yeah.
And you go, but actually I wanted to see the world that I saved and talk to the people, that I saved from, like, Calamity Ganon. I still can't believe they called him that. But I wanted to go exploring and talk about my adventures and stuff, rather than it going back to just before the. Yeah, it's weird. I don't know, man. It's I like it when it does stuff like this. I like it when it goes, okay, you finish the game, but actually, you get to see some of the impact of what you've done. I think that's quite important.
Because it always makes the world feel so much more. Not real, but do you know what I mean? It feels like it is real. Like you.
It feels lived in.
You're getting, that's your reward. Yeah. You're getting to see what you've saved. Mm-hmm. And so many games don't do that. Either the credits roll or whatever, it puts you at save just beforehand. Or
I hate that so much.
Yeah. Or no, it's really unsatisfying, isn't it? But yeah, great game, really, really good game.
Yeah.
I'm surprised by how much I loved it by the end of it.
So, do you, at this point, can you see if you love this more than you love 2018? Because for me, I'm too, like, soon after. I don't know, it's hard to say right now for me.
I think it was way more interesting than 2018 from a narrative perspective. I think it had more to say. I think when you look at the themes of 2018, it was quite one note, and this is a lot more complex.
Yeah, I mean, I think, obviously we're not going to go into, like, spoiler stuff, but I think genuinely the story, like, there's so many layers, and I think I love, like, almost, like, the themes of the story more than the story itself. The story itself never, like, oh my god, but it's, like, it's trying to say and do so much, I think, and there are so many characters that have their own story going on and how that connects to all the others. I'm trying to be vague on purpose, but I just feel like
being vague. Look, this is a perfect example, right? Being vague. When have you ever played a game where there's been a massive dispute between two characters and it doesn't get resolved?
Yeah, no, yeah, it
doesn't happen,
rare.
does it? It doesn't
Really
happen.
rare.
It doesn't happen in media a lot. It's like, here are two very close characters, and something's happened, and they are not close anymore. You know, by the end of it, they're going to be close again.
Exactly,
Something's going to happen.
I was expecting that. It's a classic movie or game or things. Like, obviously that thing is going to be resolved, but sometimes that isn't the case.
Not. Absolutely not.
I love it for that. And like it's like a really emotional game. Like the last few hours are like really, really tender moments, really emotional. It talks a lot about, you know, what it means to be a parent and this, that, and the other. It's really good in all that stuff I just mentioned. But I think I can't say, oh man, what an incredible story. But I can say what incredible kind of themes throughout and really great, tender, lovely moments.
I didn't have a problem with the story. I didn't
have a problem with it. I wasn't like, I don't know. I don't think I'll be looking back in 10 years. Like, oh yeah, that story where you did. I feel like the story came too late. Lots of things came too late for me, and it wasn't like, oh man, this and that and this and that. It was good, and it carried the game along. And
Can I ask you something? Were you doing the side missions early on?
Yeah, I mean, I did like the first lot of side missions, and
then did you stop doing them?
Yeah, and then I started doing them towards the end a bit more, but yeah, I didn't.
When you say it came too late, is it possibly because you front loaded all your side quest stuff?
No, I'm
not saying you're the problem. I'm just saying that because of the way you played it, it might have changed the sort of pace of the narrative for you a little bit.
No, I just feel like, I mean, like, as you said, like, it felt like the first 6 hours were like waiting for things to kick on and like, who, you know, what's the story really about? And then, you know, like at some point, you're just like, okay, all bets are off, and it's like it goes on to another level, and it's like, okay, the story just gets, you know, the progression, gets better and better and better, and it's like an amazing kind of last few hours as you rush towards the finish. I don't know. I've got. There's probably a lot of things. Maybe we're talking like the game of the year discussion potentially. Will it be spoiler stuff? But no. I loved it, but I don't think it's like, you know, absolutely incredible, stunning, you know, 10 out of 10 kind of thing. I think maybe because I played 2018 and loved it, and it's definitely a progression and an improvement upon that. But because maybe I'd already had the big hit from 2018, this just doesn't feel like another huge jump. It's still a jump. It's still great. Still looks awesome, but I don't feel the same right now. Maybe I'm too close to it. I don't feel the same as I did post 2018. When like, holy shit, what an experience.
See, because I preferred it to 2018 for sure. I enjoyed 2018, but I felt that it was somewhat one note. Whereas this, it felt way more interesting to me. I can't wait to see what you think, James. Are you really going to plough through with it now? Do you think?
Definitely. No,
is it your focus?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, this is what is annoying because there's other games that I'd like to play, you know, particularly because we've got Game of the Year like coming soon. But I just want to play this, is the thing.
So just smash it.
Yeah.
Just smash it. Whack it down a level if it's getting too hard, and just work your way through it because it's worth seeing to the end.
You did
definitely.
it way quicker than I did, Dave. Didn't you? Like
23 hours?
23. It took me, it was 30 hours, but you know, I'm always slow with these things.
So I'm about 10 in at the moment. So yeah.
Wow, and you've not made it to the wall.
No, well, I've been doing lots of side missions as well, like as I've been doing it. Yeah. Which, because I've been enjoying them.
I skipped a lot of side missions.
Did you do all the side missions in that first area, James? So they're like, you can do like the free kind of smoking hut, and then there's other things in the area.
Yeah.
There was some really cool, like the way, you didn't do them at all, did you, Dave? Like the smoking thing. So
I started doing the hut one and then got confused and then
it really kind of organically, like, so basically we go to the first area, it kind of opens up, and you need to go to these islands to do something with these smoking buildings, but you go on one of them, and then that kind of leads you to another separate side quest, which I thought was awesome, and it's really clever how it did that. It felt so natural.
Do you mean the one with the creature?
Yeah.
I really like that one. I thought that was great.
Really fantastic.
Yeah,
what a first kind of side mission to kick the game off. We were like, oh shit.
Especially because like more Mamiya like context and all that. It was really good.
Yeah, really, really good stuff. And I think, I mean, I'm not usually one to play a game loads and then go back for post game content, but You and I, David, spoke about a couple, or at least one, and I've heard about a couple more today. I'm like, okay, maybe we'll go around, because it does feel like there's loads of cool lore stuff that's been kept for post-game for fans that really want to go the extra mile. So there's at least 3 things I want to see and do in the post-game. So I probably will end up doing them, because I want to see more stuff. And I'm excited to see whatever the next God of War game is like.
Well, years away. Right, okay, so that's what we've been playing. Should we get to questions?
Yeah, we can. If you want to,
can we?
If you want to contact us, if you go to tcgs.co/TCGS, you can fill out a form, and then Sean will read them out. Yeah, next time. Anyway, the first one, it's from Chris from Dist. I mean, it's like an essay. Honestly, it's really long.
I think we can
like
read
the
it.
sound of his own voice, that boy.
Yeah, I mean, shall I read it? Because it's quite long.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the next one.
That's unfair. That's unfair on Chris from
It
Dis.
says, hello, yes, it is me, the better-looking partner of the Minty Bisque frontline. Recently, I've been...
We're not allowed to mention them anymore, Chris, so we might have to bleep that out.
Okay. Recently, I've been thinking, sometimes even pondering, regarding the recent state of the games industry. So I thought, who better to ask than 3 of the hardest-working gaming podcasters around, and of course, David. As much as I love the game services that we have the access to these days...
Hold on, whoa. James is more harder working than I am.
Yeah, I mean, obviously.
Yeah, I think all the listeners know that.
Yeah.
All right.
As much as I love the game services that we all have access to these days, Game Pass, PS Plus, etc., do you think that people, more specifically the younger generation, will find it harder to find themselves really attached to specific games or a gaming franchise? An example, you ask. Okay, when I was younger, I remember getting my first console, a Sony PlayStation. I was thrilled, but I only had 3 games. Spyro the Dragon, Gran Turismo, and Crash Bandicoot. I played all 3 of these games for many hours, and upon their remastered versions of new games, I found myself playing the games, really enjoying them, and feeling like I've gone back to the good old days. Personally, I now find that it is so much harder to gain affection for most single-player games, because as soon as I get a little bit bored or frustrated, then I'm stuck on a certain part of a game. I either download a new game and just move on. I now find that there are very few games within the last 2 to 3 years that I will turn on in 10 years' time and would feel really nostalgic when I go back to play. Do you think this is an issue, or am I just, in fact, a little weird? Thanks for your time. Can't wait for the next TCGS con in Didcot.
Chris is younger than us.
Yeah.
I think he's in his late 20s. Chris, you're heading towards your 30s, mate. This is it. You don't get nostalgia for things you play anymore.
Yeah.
That goes. That absolutely goes. Can you name a game from 10 years ago that you'd be nostalgic about, James?
Not really, no.
All of that stuff is from when you were a kid.
It's all like Mega Drive stuff and all that kind of stuff that I'm nostalgic for. But also, I think he's bang wrong with this, because the thing is...
He's bang wrong with it.
If you think about it, kids are playing...
Chris from Bits, bang wrong.
This whole thing about, like, people, like kids not engaging with like specific games or whatever. What about Fortnite? Or like Minecraft or whatever like that? That's
Call
the
of Duty.
stuff.
Among Us.
Yeah.
Among Us. I'd say more than ever they get more obsessed with like a single game.
Yeah.
I mean, back in the day, we would like swap games and stuff. And sure, we had our favourites, and sure, we had games that we played for way too long because we didn't have access to many games. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. You look at something like Fortnite, people look back on that and get nostalgic about that at some point. I'm waiting to see a TikTok going, hey, remember this? And it's like that. One of those dances, like on...
I definitely see videos like that
the
when
second
they
island of Fortnite.
Exactly. No. I've seen videos where they're like, do you remember the first map? And I was like, oh shit, I do. So it's happening.
I do, because it only come out last week, didn't it? That's what it feels like.
Yeah, I mean, I do get what Chris is saying. I mean, it's obviously incredibly different now when, if you're like, sorry, I was playing something else. And with things like Game Pass, there's such a constant opportunity to play something new, and there's like the novelty factor. But, I think that there are still so many amazing single-player experiences. You might just have to look a little bit different. Maybe if you... I don't know, there's just a lot out there. I mean, I look at all the stuff we played this year, whether it's indies or big AAAs. There's a lot out there. If you find yourself just staying on Game Pass or the PS Plus subscription and like a Netflix, you just like, skipping onto the next thing, then you might find that. But there's so much out there.
You'll never get that feeling again, Chris.
No.
I warn
It's
you,
gone.
you will never get that feeling again. You will never get that feeling of, oh man, do you remember that? Well,
Yes, you will. Because it'll be like,
Zelda,
do you remember
Breath of the Wild
Uncharted
might be up
2
there
or
for
Last
me.
of Us? And
yeah, not Last of It. Yeah, but even like as much as I loved Red Dead Redemption 2 and I love The Last of Us Part 2, they're not games in 10 years' time I'm going to be going, yeah. In fact, actually, that was an awful
Yes, you
noise that I
will.
made there, wasn't it? The one game that I think goes against that is Breath of the Wild, because that is one where I think back and go, oh my God, do you remember meeting that character or finding that out or getting to that bit? Yeah.
I think those games it will. It's just that we're too close to them right now. I mean, like Red Dead 2, we have such fond memories of that. And
I still don't think so, because what this is it's like Chris says here, of like playing the same things over and over and over again, which we didn't do with things like Breath of the Wild, really. You know, you play through...
Yeah, I only did one run through of both Breath of the Wild and Red Dead 2.
Exactly. So like, the nostalgia factor isn't as high. Like, the reason that, you know, you go back to something, like if I go back to something from like the Mega Drive era that I haven't played for like literally years, like say something like, I don't know, Alien Storm or something like that, you know, you put it on and it's the music starts up and you're transported back because you played that so much when you were a kid, but then it's been like 20 years or whatever since, or 30 years, you know, since you last played it. It's there's a difference there.
yeah, I think we're too close to these kinds of titles myself, but it's an interesting question.
I also just don't think we put enough, you know, as much time obsessively into doing the same thing over and over and again in them either to get like that level.
But my kids do.
Yeah.
And that's the difference.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Harry will play a single level of a game over and over and over and over and over again.
That's I mean, yeah, like if I look at like Ash's stats, like on Breath of the Wild, they're crazy. Like compared with me, you know. Do you know he's got 7 crowns in Fall Guys? Like I don't know how he's done that. I can't even get one. But yeah, he's done it 7
never had a
times.
crown?
I'm sure you've had one, haven't you?
No, I've never had. No, I haven't played it very much, but he's done it 7 times now. It's just, I don't know.
I mean, that I know it says every week, but that sounds like a streaming series. James gets a crown.
We've done that once. We did that once.
You know, but James.
Let's try and get James a crown, and I got about 3 or 4 crowns, and James said, "I'm going to bed."
Maybe I should do it with Asher. Like I could just get him on there and just be like, just
I'll give you tips.
Show me how you're doing it. You know.
Yeah, let him train you up. Yeah. Oh God, that would be good. We got to do Granny's Garden before that, James. Yeah. We've got to do that. I'm adamant that we're doing Granny's Garden.
Yeah, well,
David, you're not thinking like 20 years' time you'll be like, oh, Power Wash Simulator. Remember those days?
No, I will not. Next.
This is from Steve Gooding. He says, Dear TCGS, a comment Sean made about Myst not being on Game Pass made me think of a question. The leaving soon section of Game Pass has led to a new gaming phenomena for me. Panic gaming. If a game leaving Game Pass is something I'm interested in, I'll frantically play it over other things I'm playing. Part of me likes having some of the burden of choosing a new game taken away from me. Another resents playing games at a quicker pace than I generally prefer, especially for longer games. Do any of you identify with this mindset?
No.
That's great.
Absolutely not. Do you do the same with McDonald's when they're like, oh no, the McRib is only available for another week? Is the McRib over here? Do they do it?
No, not at
over?
the moment.
No, but have they ever done it over here?
Yeah, they have done it, but
because people
just
go
not
nuts
as
for
frequent,
that thing, right?
not frequent as the US, but it has been over here. Yeah.
Yeah, but you like that when they're going, oh, the McRib's only got a week left, so let's go to McDonald's every night this week.
I mean, possibly.
Yeah, well, I know you would, Matt. I bet you're terrible with the Monopoly stuff, aren't you?
I was, not so much these days, but I was, obviously. I was like, Monopoly's back, let's go. I was like, I'll buy a large cheeseburger, a double cheeseburger, just because I might win. But you don't win anything, so it's kind of pointless.
But also, the trouble with the McDonald's stuff is their like special stuff in inverted commas is always worse than the regular menu. Like it's never worth trying that stuff. It's always terrible.
I always go novelty menu.
It's never good.
Nah,
always.
Never. I just go straight for the Big Mac every time. Every time.
No, anyway,
nothing else.
Yeah, this is interesting because obviously this kind of happens when like things leave streaming services like Amazon Prime or Netflix, and like this is going in 30 days. You're like, fuck, I better hammer this series before it goes. But the thought of doing that with a game, I have not done that yet. But
no, I just look at that and just think, oh, never mind, it's all right.
It'll come back in a month's time.
If I haven't played it in the year that it's been on that service, I'm not really going to play it in the last week either.
I've got a question for you two. Obviously, if you're a Game Pass member, you get like a discount on buying games. Have you seen a game on there, or one that might be leaving, and you're like, oh, it's leaving, but I would like to play it more, so you've bought it?
No,
I've never done that.
No, I haven't done it either. But I assume that's a big area where Microsoft and I guess Sony think, oh, we know people playing it. Oh shit, it's leaving. I better buy it, and I get a small discount. But I've never done that.
There was a game that I was annoyed that left. It was I can't remember what it was now, and it's embarrassing. Lumines Remastered left Game Pass recently, and I was like, I went to play it, and I was like, oh for Christ's sake! Even though I've got it on pretty much everything else. There was part of me that was annoyed that had gone. Jesus, I've not played that for a little while. Actually, I should stop talking about that game. Otherwise, I'll play it after this, and then that'll be me for a month.
That'll be you over Christmas.
I'll tell you
Dangerous.
I got the renewal thing up for PlayStation Plus the other day. Because they were saying, "Oh, your time has ended on this tier."
Oh yeah.
I've downgraded now to the bottom tier because I just don't see the point.
Yeah, I don't touch any of that stuff.
Don't see the point.
I said to Harry said to me, "How is this?" Not Harry. Charlie said to me, "Oh, do you remember Sackboy?" And I went, "Oh yeah. Oh, I want to play that again." I went, "All right. Well, I've got the top tier for the Sony thing.
Not on there, is it?
It's not on there.
Of course not. Okay.
Why?
I know. Well, like Ratchet and Clank's not on there either. It's like I don't know.
Well, obviously that's like a massive seller. They're not going to do that, and that's one of very few exclusives.
But they're not bringing anything else to it either. That's the thing. It's like if every month they were like there was a whole load of indie games and stuff like that were coming to it, then maybe I'd go for the middle one. But there's no point. There's absolutely no point in having it. I don't think at the moment.
Do you know why they're doing that, James?
Why is that?
Because they want to do everything they can to make sure Microsoft does not get the acquisition. So they're not going to add anything good to it to say, well, look at our subscriber numbers. They won't say, it's shit, we hate it, it's rubbish. There's nothing on it.
I would have thought that bloody Sackboy game would be on there. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. That seems perfect. But nah, it's just not on there. So weird. As well.
Okay, next question. Maria Mendieta says, Dear TCGS, connect the dots. Which intense games would you feel comfortable playing around your kids if the sound is off? David mentioned that he tried to do this with God of War Ragnarok, but the graphic visuals helped his child catch on to his ploy. I was wondering how much of a game's brutality can be softened by turning down the volume. Give it the good work, Maria.
It's usually things like... I think Guardians of the Galaxy was a good one for that. Because there's a bit of swearing and it's this and that. I think there's swearing in it. Is there swearing? No, they say flarking all the time.
Yeah, flarking, flipping, yeah.
But yeah, no, I just put the headphones in for that.
Do you know, I turned something down the other day because of swearing. And do you know what Ash said to me? He said, I don't know why you're doing that. I hear you swear all the time every evening. Like when I'm doing the pod and stuff like that.
Foul-mouthed. Yeah, you are very foul-mouthed. Well, I mean, the swearing stuff with Harry, that's sort of gone out the window now because not only is he watching loads of Marvel stuff, which gets very sweary, especially the more recent ones. I might as well say, there's a lot of swearing in Black Widow, a lot of it, right? So there's that, but also
what's the age rating of that?
I think it must be a 12, I think it's 12, right? Yeah. But he's been watching. This is probably bad parenting, but he's been watching that Wrexham show. And my word, the F word is said a lot in that show.
Oh, right.
And we sort of just say to him, what can you do? As long as you just don't say it, and then you're fine.
Yeah,
we don't mind you watching it. That's what I say to them now. I'm just saying, look, this is around. It's just don't do it at home. It's fine. Did I tell you the knock-on effect of that show, James? No. So
he speaks Welsh.
So Harry's been playing FIFA on his mobile.
Oh yeah.
And basically, he's put it all on easy or whatever. So he's absolutely smashing it. Millwall are winning the Champions League. And he keeps saying, Daddy, do you know who Millwall signed? I was like, who? Ronaldo? I was like, okay, all right, we've got Cristiano Ronaldo. Next day, it'd be, Daddy, you know Millwall signed this time? I've gone, Messi. So I'm like, so we got Messi and Ronaldo. Okay, fine. Next day, Daddy, I got a legend. Signed a legend. Oh yeah, who's that? David Beckham. Right, so we've got David Beckham playing for Millwall. We've got Messi playing for Millwall and Ronaldo playing for Millwall. The next day he went, we signed someone else, Dad. I was like, who? We signed Rooney. No. Paul Mullin from Wrexham.
Another legend of the game.
I was like, okay, fine. That's fine.
Where does he fit in the setup? You know, it's what I'm
Messi's on the bench.
Yeah. But no, he watches that, and that is quite a sweary show. So, it's tough, isn't it? It's tough to know where to draw the line, and especially with gaming. I mean, you do your gaming away from the main TV, right, Matt?
Yeah, but if I play. Well, yeah, the main TV is downstairs. Obviously, I'm playing up here in the office, and if I'm often with headphones on, but sometimes maybe on a weekend I haven't, and then Elodie will she'll hear the sounds on the TV and poke her head round, or not even want to look at the screen if she can hear things happening. But I don't often play that when she's up. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, in terms of swearing, I mean, like the new Taylor Swift album, there's a bunch of F bombs in there, and we listen to that in the car, and then we're both like, I look at her in the rearview mirror, and she looks at me like giving her the eye. It's like, oh, naughty Taylor, what's she done now?
Yeah,
when she's saying,
Harry goes, "Oh, naughty bird," when he hears one of my songs with swearing in it or whatever.
Yeah.
But no, not so much swearing with the violence and stuff. It is kind of like, for me, if it's human on human, that stuff usually goes away. God of War, you're fighting monsters, and sometimes that can be too scary, and that's why I
think
playing
that's
in
well
front of
brutal. Yeah, like Elodie wouldn't want to see that, and I would not want her to see that. It's way too graphic. I think God of War.
Harry, I think he'd be all right.
Yeah, Asher saw something from God of War, and he was just he just thought it looked cool. It was just,
what was that?
Well, I don't want to spoil it because it's like
so it's a story.
It's
thing.
a key plot point thing.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah. But he was like, oh, that's really cool.
But some of the special moves in that are brutal.
Yeah.
Like really, when you hit it, when you click on R3 and it's like, yes, you just ripping people from limb to limb. It's too much, I think, for Elodie.
Oh, I tell you what, Charlie did watch was he watched a lot of Halo Infinite, because he used to always refer to my friends. You need to go to your base and get your friends, because you were like getting a truck or whatever, and a bunch of your like Marines were getting. You need to go and get your friends, Daddy.
That's the thing, but Halo has never really felt like a brutal game. Do you know what I mean?
It's cartoon violence.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like like Gears of War. I wouldn't do that because that feels much worse.
You should chainsawing through things. Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
like Manhunt. I wouldn't do that.
Probably not. No.
Another example of the genre.
Pac-Man.
Oh, I wouldn't do that.
Wouldn't do that.
No.
Tetris. Super Mario Brothers.
Wouldn't do that.
Anyway.
Get out, James.
Next from Ben Potter, he says, "Hi gents, I just wanted to say thank you for helping me through a very tough year. My son was admitted to hospital over Christmas 2021 with a bad ear infection. Following surgery to relieve the inflammation and getting home in the new year, we were then told that he had leukemia. We spent the first 9 months of 2022 in and out of hospital as he started treatment, and I'm glad to say it's all gone well, and he's now back at school and doing really well. He's still got 2.5 years of treatment, but he's getting back to his old video game obsessed self. Your podcasts were a regular listen as I drove back and forth to Leeds to visit him and my wife whenever he had a hospital stay. It helped me get my mind off things and enjoy a laugh with 4 gaming dads who understand exactly what it's like being a gamer raising kids in the modern world. The bonus show and the addition of Marvel calls has also been brilliant, keeping me going as I return to work and the real world after a long break. As we approach this Christmas, we're hoping for a much better time, and my son has asked for a Meta Quest 2. So my question is, can you recommend some VR games suitable for an 11-year-old? I'm really looking forward to the Game of the Year show. Please make sure that James gets smashed on the Jaeger. Keep up the good work. You never know who the podcast might be helping. That's from Ben, which is really nice. Thank you.
Ben.
Yeah.
You've destroyed the mood of this show now, I must say. No, I'm joking, of course. That is
game over now from this point.
I cannot. That is a literal nightmare what you've lived through, and I hope you're all doing okay, and as well as can be. And it is a fucking honour to to say that you listened to the show throughout that period and that it helped in some way. That means a hell of a lot to us. Fucking hell, man. I hope you're doing okay, and remember. I said this to someone on a forum recently as well, and I think they had. If you've got people to talk to, then call them, and if you haven't got people to talk to, then you can always call the Samaritans, which isn't necessarily because you are having that dark of thought, but it's just something that I think needs to be said a little bit more. And that's not what I'm saying that you need to do, Ben, at all. But it just really, everyone, all four of us have gone through some really depressing moments over the past few years, and we said we use the podcast to help us out as much as our listeners do. But really, as you say, we will never know what people are going through that are listening to this. So, thanks for letting us know, and I really do hope things pick up. I think I hope things get good again. That's the thing.
It's real tough. I mean, my sister's kid is currently battling cancer. We've learned over the last few months, and it's but you do just want to put your head in a podcast and be taken away with whatever it is, just to kind of take your mind off things. And and all the stuff David mentioned, absolutely correct. There's also, our Discord community is really welcoming if you want to just chat bollocks with people as well. It's well worth seeking out as well if it means taking your mind off things. But I'm glad we can help in some small way.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about VR games, though,
and I've got some answers for you.
What have you got? Because
number one, What the Bat? It's brilliant, really good fun. Kids love Harry loves it. Number two, Sports Scramble. That's essential.
Sports Scramble's good, yeah.
Sports Scramble is a stupid game where it's bowling mixed with baseball or tennis mixed with whatever, hockey. It mixes up sports, and it's almost always funny. It feels like Wii Sports with a bit of an edge. Yeah,
it definitely felt very Wii Sportsy when I first got it. That's a good one. That I think Job Simulator is amazing fun. It's just really funny.
That's really, really good.
That's one of the really early kind of VR experiences, but it still holds up today. It's still funny. It's still silly. It's good to put anyone in that environment and seeing how it works.
I'm trying to think of some of the other funny. Virtual reality is really good. I wonder if there's some scary bits in that. For an 11-year-old, you'd be all right, I'd have thought.
I will say they say you shouldn't have it on less than 13, but just thought I'd put it out there. That's
my 8-year-old uses.
That's all I'm gonna say.
I can hardly.
Oh dear.
Any other recommendations?
There isn't anything kind of kid orientated, because they say there is a minimum of 13-year-olds really that they want to play. But there are loads of those clever games. I thought Moss was amazing. Moss 2's out on Quest as well, which I really want to play. And there are also loads of kind of weird little demos where they it's all about hand tracking, which will be fun as a VR experience in itself. Again, nothing kid orientated for the reasons I've already mentioned, but there's hand physics labs, which is created by one dude to test all the hand tracking stuff, which is really cool, and loads of funny things you can do there.
Sports Scramble, telling you, that is the one. I think if I was recommending one game for an 11-year-old, it would be Sports Scramble or Walkabout Mini Golf, of course.
Mine would probably be Zombieland VR Headshot Fever, but there are other games available.
Hold on. What age rating's on that?
I think it's 12.
Head of marketing trying to say sell it to an 11-year-old, is it?
I'm saying buy now and wait. That's what I'm saying. Buy now, save it.
Interesting. Write that down.
Save it for the.
Feels like this might be in the news next week, James.
Coming on sale. Please buy it.
Next question is from Michael. He says, if you were going to get a new tattoo, what would you get? Do any of you have any gaming tattoos?
No, none of us have gaming tattoos. You don't have any tattoo, do you, James?
No,
but you want one?
No. I would like to. Obviously, if I was thinner and lither, I'd get the
What?
If I was thinner,
what's thinner got?
No, I want to get.
Wait for that.
If I was thinner and didn't have a hairy back, I'd get the Kiryu dragon on my back, because that'd be amazing.
Well, shave your back and get a tattoo.
This is the thing, because then Chen was like, we'd have to keep shaving it. I was like, she's like, you've got to shave the dragon again, because it's like,
oh no, you got to shave the dragon, James.
You've got one booked in, haven't you, Matt?
So I was just wanting to shave the dragon down. Yes, I have. I got my first ever tattoo booked in because I was sick of thinking about it. I was sick of thinking about it every bloody day. My Instagram feed's just pure tattoos all day, every day. I'm like, I can't keep thinking about this. So it's booked in for like March. Also, I kind of wanted to get it booked in before I hit 40. Not that that's really like, like a deal breaker, but anyway.
What are you getting done?
I'm not 100% sure yet, but something with like leaves, maybe a woman's face, maybe a bird on there, on my like right forearm, and then we'll see where it goes. I mean, what I'm like.
Oh,
in
you're
like
getting
2 years,
forearm done?
Yeah, in 2 years' time, I'll have like a spider web on my face.
Wait, did you just say something about Leeds? Do you mean
No, Leeds.
Oh, but you said Leeds, like the football club.
What? Why would I get Leeds?
Leeds.
No, that'd be horrendous. Yeah, I'm glad I've got it. But right, it's so this person I've researched like for months and years, obviously because it's me. And this person said my books are open. I booked it, but it's not until like March, right? And which is a long. I mean, I booked this like a couple of months ago, but it's a long time away, right? And I messaged him saying, "Hey, I'm getting my first tattoo. I think your work's amazing, and I love you to get it done." He's like, "Oh, it's a real honour, for me to do your first tattoo." I'm like, "Amazing." We went through all the kind of malarkey about paying and what I want, but now I'm thinking, don't really want to wait until March. What if I got another one with someone else? Now, is that like incredibly bad kind of tattoo etiquette? Say you're my first, and he turns up like,
no, of course
what
not.
the fuck's that on your left arm, mate?
No, you're paying for a service, Matt. You don't owe them anything.
I know that, but it's like.
It don't sound like you do know that.
Well, no, but part of me is like, yeah, you'll be my first, and he's like, hang on, I thought it was going to be your first, mate. Like,
yeah,
what's this?
Well, do you want the money or not?
Yeah, I know, obviously that, but I just wonder if it's bad etiquette.
I think what you should do, Matt, just first of all to get one before you do this, just on your chest,
closer to the mic, James.
So just on your chest, like there, Marcus Phoenix, like a picture of his face. I think you should get that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't.
Or just the
thinking
picture
about doing
that he keeps in his wallet. Or
of
his wife.
That's not.
So I've got my Millwall tattoo on my leg. I got Queens of Stone Age one on my back, which I want something done to because it wasn't very good. But let's do it like this. We've got to get a gaming tattoo. What do you get?
Something from the Outer Wilds.
Really? Well, that's not an answer though. Is it something from the Outer Wilds? What would you get? The little spaceship. That little thing with the little frog-looking thing that you look through every time you die.
No, not that. Probably one of those like those fish which have like kind of like the light in front of them that chase you in that quite scary bit in the game. That I reckon that could work quite well as a tattoo, like black work. Yeah, I reckon that probably do me. Because I Googled like Outer Wilds tattoos. I'm thinking, oh, I love that game. Could there be something cool? But all the ones I saw were just like the planets, and it just looked a bit. It wasn't for me. So I'll go saying Outer Wilds. Yeah.
Cool, James.
I've no idea.
It's got to be Yakuza related, surely.
Yeah, but it's too obvious, isn't it? It'd be too obvious to get something like that.
It wouldn't be too obvious for you to get a massive dragon on your back.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously that'd be the ultimate, but it's a.
But there you go. Then. There you go. We're dreaming at the moment.
Yeah,
James, how badly would you like a tattoo? Seriously,
I'm not really that bothered, honestly. Like,
okay.
Yeah, it's not really something I'm going for.
Easy for me. Bayonetta nude on my chest. Next question.
Last question is this is from MD Krabuffs. He says, TCGS, what is best in life?
What?
Just
what is best in life?
Yeah.
What is best in life? A Sunday roast.
That's good.
A Sunday roast. I had such a good day yesterday. I woke up. We went out for breakfast.
Good start.
We come back. We watched some football. I had a couple of beers throughout the day, and we had a big old Sunday roast pork. Joe cooked a big old Sunday roast pork.
That does sound good, to be fair.
Yeah, we played video games. We just hung out. It was nice.
Yeah, that is nice.
That's best in life.
That sounds like a good day.
It was a good one. Matt?
I mean, mine would be really selfish, but it would be like, and this is sad, but it's like, it's a Monday morning, it's a cold morning, you're driving to work, like, it's not even about where you're driving, but like, you've got like a new Totally Football show ready to listen to, you've got like a coffee, like that is like just incredibly relaxing, kind of satisfying. I don't care if I'm driving, 25 minutes to work, new Totally Football show podcast, a coffee, like I'm happy as Larry, really. That's all I want.
I'd say Oh, this is pathetic, but it literally is just a day with no meetings. That's.
Fuck off.
No, I'm not. Not joking. I just love just nice being left alone. You know, it's nice.
So you work every day?
What do you mean?
Well, the weekends, right?
Well, yeah, but the weekends don't count because there's other things on the weekend, don't they? You have to deal with.
So wait. What's best in life? Yours is a work day,
with no meetings.
But a work day with no meetings.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, I like that.
Wow.
Oh my god!
Because the other one for me is Saturday going to Millwall with Harry. Love it. There's nothing better. He'll play Little League. We'll get home, get him changed, get down to the tube station, get up to London Bridge, watch a game of football. Hopefully we win. Come back. Lovely. It'll be even better when Charlie can come. But he is quite a way off from coming to Millwall with us. Did I tell you what we're doing for Christmas this year for Santa?
You said he's dead.
No, we're going to the Den.
Are you going to meet Santa at the Den?
Santa's going to be at the Den with the players.
The Santa?
Nice.
Yeah, and it's only £5. It's only £5. Which Joseph was like, this is cheaper than most of the other ones. And I want to go, yeah, but don't get your ropes up.
Yeah, you wait till you see him. Speaking of Christmas stuff, did you two do Elf on the Shelf? I think we discussed this before.
No. It's too much.
Yeah, well, so, basically, the day my parents bought that for Elodie, Jill's been hating it ever since. It's been going for years. We've done all sorts of mad shit. This year, Jill convinced Elodie that Elfie will arrive on the 1st, but actually he's going to go on holiday.
Brilliant.
And come back, 24th or whatever. And Elodie's like, yeah, that'd be fine. And then a couple of nights ago, we're like, oh no, that's actually, she does enjoy it, right? That's quite sad. And I'm like, I've got a better idea, right? If he's going on holiday, we need to do this the right way. So now what it's progressed into is I've bought 40 postcards from around the world on Amazon.
Matt.
I bought 40 airmail stickers, and every single day, because he's away, he's going to be writing a postcard from New York or the pyramids or San Francisco saying, I'm having a wonderful time over here. I wish I was at home causing havoc in the Murray household, but sadly not. Maybe I'll be back soon.
I think that's a lovely gesture, Matt. I think it's lovely. Yeah.
Jill hates it every day, the pressure of trying to find something new for him to do. And the trouble is, I went nuclear way too soon. A couple of years ago, I had him pull down the tree on day 3. You can't go anywhere after you pull the tree down. That's it. It's game over. Mm-hmm. But anyway.
Have you seen this? Maybe we should... it's too late to do this. We can't sneak this in today. But have you seen this festival thing? You can create your own festival based on Spotify. Your Spotify
I did that last night, yeah.
Okay, I need to look at that. I'd love to know what James is. I'm just interested.
We should go. This is diverging into bonus show material.
Oh yeah. Good point. Right. Are we done?
Yeah.
Yes.
Then we will catch you. Oh no, socials in it.
Yeah, no social. Okay, right. So no stream on Thursday, but on Friday, James is still playing Devil and Me, and that is going to be Thursday on twitch.tv/TCGSco from 9 p.m. If you miss them streams live,
to the bitter end,
you can watch the first 2 parts of The Devil in Me.
I wouldn't bother
on YouTube. Is it worth watching, James?
No.
Was part 2 better than part 1?
But part 1 was better than part 2. So.
Oh my god. Okay. Well, you can go on YouTube, search TCGS and watch that. You can also watch both parts of Sean's, it's Belle's Bedtime Builds, where Sean has been building his Lego car. That's now done. No Lego stream, or no Sean stream this Thursday, but maybe the week after. But if you have Amazon Prime and you have a Twitch account, if you connect them to, you then have Twitch Prime Gaming, and they give you 1 free sub a month to every account that you can give to whoever you want. Go over to our channel. We really appreciate it if you have done that, and give us your free sub. We love that. The website's tcgs.co for links to our Discord, our socials, Marvel calls. We're on Patreon, patreon.com/TCGS. You get Marvel calls a week early, you get a bonus show, you get to access them GTA streams, and so much more besides. And that's it.
Nice. No mention of World Cup Wednesdays, Matt?
Oh, you're still doing that?
Yeah, still doing that. That happened this week. It was a really good episode.
Oh, right. That is on YouTube if you want to watch that. Are you?
Thanks. Or live. Yeah.
Are you doing it? Are you going to stream this week or?
Possibly. I don't know if you've. The Attitude that I'm getting, it's like I might as well not even fucking bother, Matt.
Well, I mean, how many viewers were you getting?
About the same as what James does.
Well, okay, well that's good, isn't it? Well, okay, if you want to watch World Cup Wednesdays, they're on Twitch probably at some point in the week. David?
Yep.
Do you want to do the outro?
Yeah. Thanks for living it. See you next week.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Do you want to say bye, David?
No.
Bye.